Okay, so we're back. En route to clarity. The draw out, myself, Agent X. We're in the building. Very special one today. Subject that's kind of close to my heart. Very special guest. Anyway, I'm not going to talk it up too much. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to talk it up too much because it'll speak for itself. Believe me, a very powerful one today. My guest today is Verral from C86ers. Make some noise. Make some noise. Okay. So,
what's the C86ers?
So C86ers was a streetwear brand. Well, it still is a streetwear brand. And obviously, with any good streetwear brand, it's always attached to a target audience, i.e., Supreme, skateboarding. I picked mountain biking. Yeah. Hence why I see mountain biking so much through my social media, stuff like that. That's what it is really. And then it kind of has transitioned into where we are now.
It's morphed into something else.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me take them into that something else. So, how I came across yourself. I mean, we're from a similar background. We're from the same place originally, and we share links. Like, you know, we know similar people. But how I came across you was on social media, and somebody, Sam, you know who you are. Big up yourself. She put me onto you. She sent me the links for the group that you set up, and hold on a second there.
Just take it out.
Sorry, that's me.
Okay. Gonna fix it now. Are we back in?
That me? Yeah, cool, no problem. It's cool. So sorry about that. Technical difficulties, don't worry about that. Hit me up in the comments, you know, troll me and all of that. But yeah, so basically Samantha, she put me onto you. She sent me a link via Facebook and to your group, your Facebook group. And I went into the Facebook group and I saw the work you were doing, and obviously me, the skeptic in me, not looking for the catch, for want of a better word, but just looking at it with different eyes, having my own experience within what you was dealing with, the subject matter which you was dealing with, which I'll get to in a second. So when I was looking through it, looking with the eyes that I have, I started to see how genuine the work was, which is what really stood out to me. And I started to do the obvious, you know. I joined the group, I liked the posts and, you know, all that kind of good stuff. But at the same time, I realised that it was all token gestures. So I reached out to yourself personally, you know. I made the friend request, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you was humble enough to accept. And I literally hit you the same day as soon as you accepted. Like, there was no like messing around. It was like literally you accepted. I hit you with a message explaining, like, you know, how much I've been moved by the work you was doing in the community, and obviously wanting to help, but also wanting to give you my platform, as small as it is, to put your message out there, because I just couldn't believe that I didn't know this was going on, that you was doing this work in the community that I'm from. Yeah. So it was really weird to me that I did not know, and I had no knowledge of it.
Did you guys have a prayer? Do you lot have? Do you know each other prior to that?
No.
Okay.
No. Never.
What's it about? I thought you
First time I've actually met him is now.
Yeah.
No way.
This is the first time we're meeting in person today.
Serious? I thought you lot knew each other. I can't even lie.
No. First time we met today. Do you see what I mean? So, do you see what I mean? And even that, like, obviously, we could go into other, you know, because, you know, everything. You know how I feel, everything is written, not literally, but you know what I mean. Like, it's certain things are supposed to happen, and like I said, when I reached it, you're the first guest I've had, one that I didn't know personally, or know, do you see what I mean? And also that I reached out to and got back to me straight away.
Okay.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I reached out to you, like I say, the same day, pretty much you accepted the friend request, and you got back to me pretty much as soon as I sent you the message.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And then literally within 2 or 3 communications, we were sorting out a date and a time.
100%, man.
Literally. And for that alone, I have to big you up. So make some noise. Make some noise for not just being humble, but being genuine. Yeah. So we got the claps in there. Yeah. So the subject we're talking about is homelessness, and like we say, the C86s that because again I wasn't aware of the clothing brand initially. I got introduced to it on the back end, which I'm calling it the back end, but you know what I mean. I got introduced to it via the homeless runs and the homeless work you're doing in the community. So again, if you just explain pretty much how it became that out of that.
So the beginning of 2020, obviously with the pandemic and whatnot, it was a situation where me and my group were still going on rides, we were still doing, canal rides, we were still going to bike parks. But obviously through social media, when people see that you're still having fun in a very crazy world, it was like, oh, they're not affected. What's actually going on here? They're still laughing, they're still joking, they're still chilling.
Yeah.
And it was people contacting and saying, oh, where's this place you lot are riding? What part of the canal is this? And then you start to see your numbers start to go. So it went from like 30, 34, I would say, in the beginning of last year, to now we're at 280 something in terms of people that have joined.
Amazing.
And, I don't charge for rides. I don't charge for people to come together. How can you? And
although some people do.
So for me, it's like, it's a project I put together in terms of people being able to network. Usually people put programs together for youth, okay, but never adults.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you don't put groups together for adults, you end up with a whole generation that's now despondent from each other, that doesn't know how to connect with each other, and it's a situation where mental health's a big part to play. And if they've got younger children that are underneath them, that's another generation coming through because they don't have that outlet. I've had dads in my group who haven't spoken to their child in however long, and just from posting our rides that we're doing and the fun we're having through lockdown gone, his son contacted him and started coming out on rides because his dad was having so much fun and he was coming out every weekend and he was joining with us, and it was like, right, is this really happening? Like, people are coming together just from a bicycle, And then, obviously, the bigger your group gets, the more you want to buy the merchandise that goes with the group, because you're not being charged. You feel like supporting, which is absolutely brilliant. I thank them so much, and it then becomes a situation of you get to the end of the year, and we all get this feeling, over Christmas time, especially Christmas time when it comes for those that celebrate it or their religious festival, is that you get this feeling of giving back. You feel almost like a guilt that you've been brought through the year, and it's all a bit about self, and you kind of get that feeling of, let me get some stuff together, let me go and do a homeless run or whatnot. So I got that feeling. I'm not gonna front and say it was anything more. I got that feeling of, I got to do something. It can't be just about the numbers going up and the finances coming through. So I remember talking to my friend on the phone, Justin. Love that guy to bits, yeah. He's like my right hand. I said to Justin, you know what, bro? This year's been mad. Like, I should have been down. 100% should have been down. Should have been in an anxiety stage because that's something I suffer with. But I was fine. It's like I got reset this year. He's like, I know, bro. Like, you're different now. So I said, we're gonna give back. He's like, okay, what are we gonna do? I was like, we're gonna do a homeless ride out. We're gonna ride out for other people as opposed to us riding out for ourselves and having fun. He's like, all right, cool. So I picked up my WhatsApp, my phone, jumped in my WhatsApp. I said, boom, like, group, we're gonna do a homeless run, and we're gonna feed 150 people, like, at random. Put the numbers in, and the group was like, I didn't know where it was gonna go because I know they ride with me. I know they are good people because I don't have bad people in my group, But you don't know how it's gonna go, and it's mad. Within a couple hours, I was like, do you know what? I need a cargo bike. because the idea was to fill a cargo bike and feed the man, because a cargo bike's like a long bike. It's got like a whole box that you can put boxes and stuff in, like water and stuff. And someone came back in the group and was like, right, I know someone's got a cargo bike. Got the cargo bike. And the group responded. I had about the same amount, about 30 something came out. Wow. And literally we posted up in Tottenham. When the cargo bike turned up, it turned up with 2 other cargo bikes. So we had 3 cargo bikes now. And about 35 of my squad, and about 1 van, another car. Like they all squadded up. So I remember being in the car park and I'm standing on the wall and I'm looking at like what's going on. I'm seeing the water in the cargo bike. I'm seeing the sandwich bags made and stuff. I'm saying, raw. Like this is a 2-day plan. Yeah. And then like Justin looked at me, and obviously you don't think about these things, but they've all turned up. So they're waiting for you now to give them the go ahead to like what's going on. I'm thinking, it's that time, because everyone's kind of paused like, okay, what are we doing now? And I remember standing like on a little wall. I remember looking over to the group and I just went silent for just that hot minute, because this is a selection of people, even though it was only 30 at the time, of people that don't really know me as a person, but have met me from just seeing me have fun and wanting to have something from that, to now doing it about someone else that they've never met before. Cool. And that's where it kind of licked me the first time, and I was thinking to myself, "Raw, this is mad." So I'm standing, I'm saying, you know, like nervously, like, thanks for coming, just all the normal nonsense. So then it was like, right, cool. So we had to set it in teams, because them times it was a thing where the government put in place, you know, groups of 6. So the cargo bike was classed as 1, and I was sending them with 6 individuals, but in 2s. Right. So what would happen if this was a cargo bike? You'd have your 3 sets of 2. They would have a backpack on, and they would refill from the cargo bike, and have that as like a replenish station. So that would be running the straight route, the cargo bike, and they would just refilling as they go into down the crevices of the roads as we passed them. Imagine we started in Tottenham, we hit Enfield, we hit Edmonton, we hit Islington, we hit Camden. Then we got to Strand.
And how do you approach the homeless people?
Literally,
just see them.
Do you know what?
While you're riding,
you see homeless people, yeah. And I'm gonna touch on this in a minute. When you walk up to a homeless person, every homeless person wants help. Yeah. If it's an aggressive thing, you're saying, like, yo, that's not how you talk to someone. Yeah, if you're saying to them, "Oh, excuse me, are you okay? How are you doing?" The response they're going to give back is humbling, because you've given them a humbling approach.
A human approach, yeah.
And it's a thing where, like, when I talk to a homeless person, I engage with them. The genuine homeless person will never be rude to you. Yeah, will never, like, try to make you feel like you're doing wrong by them. Yeah. You know? And for me, it's like that night I approached a tent, specifically this one woman. If I find this woman again, like, her face is so in my head. If I find her again, I don't care what the circumstances are, I don't care what the rules are, she's getting a massive hug from me, bro. Yeah. Because this woman changed how I thought about an entire community that's broken of homeless people and people that are in poverty and whatnot. And
how'd you do that?
Imagine I went up to a tent. So I got off my bike, you know, all the squad are riding around looking for people. And it's almost like I walked up to this tent and the zip's gone up and she's poked her head out and she's looked at me like this. And I'm looking down at her. And I was like, "Oh, excuse me, would you like some food?" And the woman looks at me and she's like, "Oh, yes, please." But in a very calm way, as in she still doesn't think I'm going to give her any food. Yeah. So I walked to the cargo bike. And then I've gone back to the bike, got the food, the water and stuff, and the fruit and stuff, and I brought it to her. And I said to her, "Are you cold?" She said to me, "Yes, I'm cold." And I said to her, "Okay, would you like some gloves?" Cause that's all I had at the time. I didn't think of anything else. Like, "Oh, let's get some gloves because it's cold." So I remember going back to cargo bike again and getting some gloves out. Now these gloves are like 2 for £1. So it's 50p for 1 pair. And I gave her a pair of gloves. She took the gloves, she held them to her face like this, she started crying. what? She's crying for gloves. That cost me 50p. And it's almost like God said, right, boom, pause button. I'm standing there, I'm looking at this woman, woman's looking at me. And it's like I'm looking at her, but I'm seeing a whole like manifestation of people like her that are scattered all across the country. And I'm saying to myself, this ain't right, bro. And I remember turning around, bearing in mind when I started the ride, I didn't feel like I knew what to say to them as my group. And I went to the edge of the pavement and I said, oh, you lot come here a minute. And we all squadded up. And the woman was far behind us so she couldn't hear. And I said, imagine this. This woman sitting behind me in this tent is in tears right now in that tent for a pair of gloves I gave her. My bike is over 2 bags. I'm talking about a bicycle. There's people in my group that have bikes that are like $5,000. And it's one of the things where it really hit home that this ain't normal. You know, this ain't a normal situation to be in. And I think for me, when I got home is when it really hit me. As in like this thing is a bit it's not normal, you know. I remember like I couldn't even find my keys. Like I was so despondent. We got home at 4 o'clock in the morning, Christmas morning. And that's the thing, we're riding in the rain. And again, all this whole group are riding out with me till them times in the morning, knowing that it's Christmas the next day, but they put that aside to do this. You know, these are not my brethren. These are not people that I have in my phone book. These are random people that I've met through riding bikes. And for me, it was like, when I got home and I rang the doorbell, my wife answered the door and she looked at me. She's like, "Babes, what's wrong?" I'm like, "I don't feel good, man." She's like, "How did it go? Like, did you get rid of the food?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "But what's wrong?" I was like, "I don't feel fulfilled, man. This is dead." And I remember going in, like I pulled my bike up and I wheeled it into the house. And I remember seeing my Christmas tree in the corner. I remember seeing all the presents on the floor. I'm saying, this is dead. And obviously Caribbean household, house is full of food. No hardo bread. Everything's there. Everything. And I'm saying to myself, this is dead. And I'm sitting there, like in all my bike gear, helmet, everything. And my wife's like, "Babe, you look so sad." I'm like, "I don't know what to do." And she's like, "What do you mean?" Like, explain to her like the situation of us running out of food before we even got to central London. And she's like, "No, I hear you, babe, but you did good tonight." Cool, babe, thank you, hug, whatnot. And it rid me, you know, it rid me till Boris Johnson came on live and said that we're going into another lockdown. The nation was sitting there thinking, "Right, man can't go Primark and man can't go on holiday and all this type of stuff." You know what happened to me when I was watching that? I'm saying to myself, "Rah, alright, cool. If 100 people are walking past a homeless person every day on Oxford Street, maybe 4 or 5 out of that 100 would help a homeless person. What happens when everyone tells those 100 people to stay home? They're stuck on the roads now. No click and collect. No contactless payments, no public toilets, not even a glass to watch the TV through to know what's going on in society." I'm like, "Alright, cool. Boris, cool, I got you, bruv." Man was up and down, pacing up and down, angry. I'm saying, this is wrong. I don't get what to do. My wife's sitting there, she's looking at me. Bless her, man. I love my wife to bits, yeah. She's sitting there, she's saying, "Babe, I know you're going to figure this out. Because you always do. Every situation that pops up, you've been a man that sorts it out." And I remember going in my shed in my garden and angry, you know. And I jumped on to social media and I vented the situation that I just explained in terms of, you know, the non-essential items and stuff. And the response was mad. I think it hit like 6,000 views in about 6 days. You know what? We had a Just Giving page running for Christmas Eve, for that Christmas Eve ride. And that only stemmed from my auntie I have. So I have an auntie that lives in another country. She wanted to put some money towards the ride because she knew I was doing it through my mum. And I said to her, you know, don't put that into my personal account because, you know, I pay taxes and stuff through my business.
Yeah.
She said, oh, I'll make a Just Giving page then. So I made one. Can you imagine in 2 days? Yeah, and this is maybe a character thing where people know my character, know what I'm about as an individual person.
Yeah.
In 2 days, we hit £1,600. We're now at 3,000, just under £3,400. And obviously, if you put a target of trying to reach 250 for one ride, but your community's put 1,600 in, what are they telling you? They're telling you that, you know what, V, you're the man that's actually going to do this properly. No, because you don't look at a target and think to yourself, okay, he's hit his target, I'm going to put more money in. But that happened. It was like, oh, okay, so you don't want me to just do this for this one day. You pushed it to do more, you know, and on a daily, it's just climbing, you know, and it's like, all right, cool, this is what I have to do now. So ever since that the new lockdown came through with the 4th of January, that's what I've been doing. I've been advocating poverty. I've been advocating homelessness. I've been supporting families at home that are on my social media that need help. You know, just with lockdown, again with schools, we have special needs schools that have been locked down. We have parents sitting at home with children that have autism that can't stand in queues for food banks.
Yeah.
You know, so that's really what's happened now, man. It's become a...
You've overstood it in a different way.
It's mad. And even now, like, I sit down sometimes and I'm like, I shake my head because I'm like, God, like, what is my purpose with this? Because this ain't something I'm used to. I'm not used to... You get to a place in life here where you've sorted the mortgage, you got married, you've done X, Y, Z, you've got the kids and whatnot, and it's like, all right, cool, I done it. You know, you chill, you buy your man toys, you buy your remote control cars, you play your PlayStation, you chill out. But then, what's life after? What's life after those accolades have come through life? You know, and that's when it starts sitting down and you start thinking to yourself, it's not about me no more. But that's it really, man. It's gone from a clothing brand to a bike group to now a whole social...
Those numbers that you use for your clothing brand, what are they, numbers and letters? What do they represent?
So C, the first letter, stands for Cream Media, which is my first business I ever had.
Okay.
Yeah, so Cream Media was like a graphics company. So my degree's in graphic design. Okay. So I make like logos, what type of stuff. And I've been... Yeah. I've been doing that from way long ago. And now it's a situation where... So 86 was the year I was born. Yeah. And then Urs just kind of brings it as a squad. You know, like you're together, you're good. So that's it, man. It's just morphed into what it is. Yeah. It's just mad.
Well, you know, unless you got any more questions, I'm gonna move on to the question. Yeah. But you know what? I lost my book.
Okay.
So I've had to do a completely different thing, but don't worry, it's still the same thing. But I've had to come in with a completely different book.
Yeah.
But the question, the question, and again, it may seem like a stupid question to ask somebody like yourself. The first part of it, anyway, at least. But I'm still gonna ask because a lot of people. They may not understand the meaning behind it, so I'll ask it nonetheless. Is there more humanity and community within the homeless community than in the wider society?
100%.
That's a big question.
100%. I'll tell you guys now, there are not even a handful. Every homeless person I've come across, I would swap them in a heartbeat for someone in my phone book.
And that's the reason why I asked, because spending time within the homeless community, a lot of the people that I met there, I made lifelong friends.
So how did you spend time in the homeless community?
Well, I spent time in the homeless community because obviously I was homeless, not to the degree that a lot, and I say not to the degree because of my mindset and obviously my mentality at the time.
Yeah.
But I was homeless nonetheless. But obviously, I had different ways to fight that struggle.
Yeah.
But where I was, I came into I frequented certain places, and I came into contact through various different means. Like at one stage, I was even in a hostel. Okay. You see what I mean? So even via the hostel, I came into contact with a lot of homeless people because it was a homeless hostel. Yeah. You see what I mean? And again, like I say, I was homeless. But what happens is, again, you have the varying degrees of homelessness. Even though somebody's homeless, they could be sofa surfing and actually have places to go. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? And earlier you alluded to it when you said the genuinely homeless people, when you meet a genuinely homeless person. And that's what I found, is that my scenario and my circumstance led me to be homeless. But by locale, so just by the location where I was, a seaside town, the kind of homeless people I ran into made me have to understand even my own situation. Does that make sense?
That's real, bro.
Do you get what 100. I mean? Yeah. And in meeting those people, I made friends for life, like I say. Do you get what I mean? And again, I'm not going to go into other people's business, but do you understand what I'm saying? I met a lot of people that I'm still in contact with today. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Even again, I'm not going to, some people might not want me to mention them, but even as somebody, and he knows who he is, who I met in one of the hostels, by the way, you see what I mean? Who had his own journey and then came around and then, you know, found God and started working in the hostel to help other homeless people. Do you see what I mean? And people with certain issues and problems. And him, do you know what I mean? I would consider him a mentor in my life, somebody who affected me. And he had minimal contact and dealings with me, but in the small ones he did have, he left a mark. Do you get what I mean? Definitely. So again, like I say, within that community, I found more humanity and community, like common unity in there. Even with all the other stuff that people might throw as negative. So, you know, people, do you know the usual stuff you get? You know what I mean? Drugs, alcohol, and all these things exist. No, but all these things exist.
The misconception of the mental health.
No, but all these things exist within that community, like they do within normal society. So your point is what? That some of these people may be on drink, alcohol or drugs. Well, I'm telling you now, if you've never slept on a beachfront, you might need some alcohol or drugs to get through it. And I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying that if you try to sleep on a beachfront, spend one night. That's what I'm saying to you. Spend one night on a beachfront and you might be looking for a can yourself. That's what I'm saying to you. Do you know what I mean? Because you need something to get through that. That's not easy living, believe me.
Well, bro, back in the day, when you used to watch them westerns, when I used to be back at my granddad's house, I used to watch Clint Eastwood and all them things, robbing banks and whatnot. They always had a flask of whiskey to keep warm. Yeah, exactly. So flask of whiskeys were invented for people that went camping and stuff and wanted to keep warm. So the substance of alcohol is to keep you warm. So it kind of don't make no sense.
And it kind of stands to reason that you would be out there and be drinking alcohol.
Like you have someone that will go into a supermarket, buy loads of alcohol and walk straight past a homeless person, but not help them because they think they're going to drink alcohol. So it's okay for you to be carrying it on the bag home, but you can't help the person you've just walked past. Bro, like last year, I've told you statistic. You guys, last year, in lockdown, we had approximately 85,000 plus drink driving offences. Wow. Yeah, so that's 85,000 plus counts of someone causing casualties with their car or crashing into pedestrians or fatalities. So these are people that can pay for insurance for their car, pay road tax, pay for finance if they've got it for their car, pay for their house, pay for their abode, their food. All of these things into contact, they're putting at risk from just drink driving. But then it won't help a homeless person on the fact that they may drink. Who are they affecting?
That person also has enough money for an Uber, may I add.
Okay. Exactly. That's a gem for it still. Cold.
Just thought I'd throw that in there just as a, you know what I mean?
It kind of just doesn't make sense to me. But I do understand it. I think it's a situation where people look at a homeless person or look at someone who doesn't have a way of keeping themselves clean and not wanting to listen to their story because they now look like a statistic homeless person. Do you know how many homeless people have pride and you'd never know they're homeless?
Yeah. It's funny because you brought me on to the second part of my question. I wasn't even going to go into it, but I'm going to put it out there because we can juggle the two at the same time. Is there a part of the human psyche that needs these people to be in that situation for the tokenism, for their own self? I don't know. Maybe this is the wrong word. For their own ego.
What was crazy is
what you're saying. Actually, a better word. For the sake of their own mental health.
Oh, I was going to ask something like, on a very flip side of that. It was that. Do you think people try to explain why people are homeless to themselves? And like by saying mental health, alcohol,
to safeguard
their own mental health. Their own mental health.
At least I'm not doing that.
100%.
And not just at least I'm not doing that. It's like with a lot of things. Deaths. I'll use death as an example. Yeah.
How did they die?
No, we all know we're going to die, and we all know people around us are going to die. Yeah. But you never have conversations about people you love dying.
No.
Do you see what I mean? 100%. Because somehow your mind safeguards you from that whole conversation because it knows how traumatic it would be to you. Yeah. So it kind of makes you live in this delusional world where you feel like, they're getting old, but they'll never die. Yeah. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. And then when they do die, your mind goes into that shock state. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. But you always knew that was going to happen.
But that's why I said, how did they die? Because like the same reason why they try to, when people say, how did he die? They want a reason.
Definitely.
Say, he did that, so I can stay away from that.
Definitely.
You got to say like, why is he homeless? He's doing this. Let me stay away. You know what I mean?
And I'm agreeing with you. But when I was saying it on the flip side of what I was trying to say was just basically that reaction, that natural dismissiveness that we have as human beings. I'm saying, is that like a safety mechanism to safeguard our own emotions 100%. And mental health? Because if 100%. I have to deal with that person being me effectively, then that could be me. So again, the defense mechanism kicks in, which is what you're talking about, which is I need to explain away I need to have reasons reasons why this like person's there, so then I can feel like this, and then also look down at them because that bad decision you made you be there, and that's why I'm here. And do you get what I mean? Like, so it's like you need that to be that way.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you get what I mean?
And I feel like things like Jeremy Carl and all them kind of talk shows, but the time that they're on in the morning have that same effect as well. I don't want to be if you notice everyone on there there's something wrong with their teeth or there's something a bit mash out. And like it's like if you're at home still, you're gonna watch these people and realize if you don't go to work, you're gonna be like, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's left for the people that are at home.
But let's look at that though. Even let's be real. The three main reasons for like homelessness that just generally, I hate to generalize. Obviously there's many different reasons, but generally is like family breakdown, a job loss, or domestic violence.
Yes,
that's it.
They're the three real main, like the main factors. If you could negate those three things, you'd have minimal homeless people in the country.
Would you say that's for men though?
Men and women.
Yeah, both. 100%.
Men and women.
Because like men usually end up losing more. You know what I'm saying? When their family.
Men and women.
No.
Men and
do you know
women.
it's a situation where I'll give you one scenario. So I met a man. So with me, I'm always. It doesn't matter what area I'm in. If I see someone, I'm dealing with it. So there was this one guy called Ian, and Ian was. My wife had to go to an appointment in Westminster. So she's going for an appointment. Obviously, I can't go in because of the rules of things. So I see Ian, and Ian explained to me what his story was, and his story was basically he moved out of London, had his own flat, and then his mum got ill. So he left his flat in out of London, came in, and within 3 months of him moving in with his mum passed away. Now, because Ian wasn't on the tenancy, that house got lost as well.
Yeah, that's what happens as well, yeah.
So he lost 2 houses in the space of a year, and now became homeless. And he's got a spinal problem, so he walks like really bent. And another thing is that he taught me that, these big backpacks. So there's these, I can't remember what you call them, but where your
lumbar support.
your lumbar support, it opens and closes.
Yeah.
His ones have closed.
Right.
So, because they're closed and they're trapped. The bag carrying for all this time has damaged him.
Yeah.
So all these knees are swollen. And it's like, when you open yourself to listen, just to listen, don't have to give them nothing. Just listen. It will open your empathy up. And once your empathy's opened up, it's like you've unlocked a whole new part of yourself you never understood. You know? And that empathy then kind of like finds its way to your conscience. And once it's found its way to your conscience, you're like a whole new vessel.
Yeah, you can't ignore it.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, your conscience is built of your parents and guardians. You know, when you steal something, you know, you know that it's wrong because you can hear your mum's voice or you hear your nanny's voice and you hear say, yo, that's wrong.
Yeah. Put that back.
It's like when you suppress that conscience, you then become something you're not. That's why when you hear that when people are getting in trouble with the police, their character reference is never up to the event. You know, it's always like, he was a good kid back in the day, and because it's never them. It's what you allow your conscience to become. You know, and once your empathy is open and you start seeing, you know, someone goes pop on your little bubble of your family and whatnot, and yourself fame in terms of what you're doing with yourself on a productive level, and someone goes pop on your little bubble and you start seeing things. It's like a superpower. You know, you're driving down the road and your daughter who's 7 years old is now looking at the window saying, daddy, we need to pull over. There's someone that needs help. You know, and once you got your 7-year-old doing that, and you got your 3-year-old coming up and he's packing your bags at night time to help you go on your runs with the toothpaste and stuff, you're saying to yourself, bruh, like, this is a new gen coming through now, and these are my 2 new gens, and it's like, what can I do with my platform to educate, you know? And I think one of the things that is very important is that, just like you guys just mentioned in terms of how they operate as a community, and if I would swap friends and stuff, I think it's very important that things I learn have to be pushed out to my platforms for them to understand this. And for me to publicly say it, because what is the point in me doing this every day for the rest of my life? I don't want to be doing homeless runs. I want homeless runs to be eradicated. I don't want to be doing this. It's not something that I get pleasure out of, but it needs to be done. You know, I don't get up out my bed in the morning to do that.
It's funny because, you know, obviously with you coming here, people might not know I don't really do that much research. I don't really research stuff like that, and, you know, again, I'm sure you'll hit me up with some stats and figures and all the rest of it, but I don't really do that much research on certain subjects. I just go with my general knowledge, or, you know, whatever the case may be, but I actually done a little bit of research on this subject, and again, nothing I found out is stuff I didn't know, but it's always shocking to see the numbers. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
If you don't see numbers, sometimes it's like it doesn't really sink in, if you know what I mean. So we'll just run through some numbers. In fact, let me not do the numbers. I'll let you do the numbers because you probably know them off the top of your head. But what I will say is this: is I looked into what nation has the least amount of homeless people, and that nation is Japan. Now, I've never been, so I know people would love to say, well, how do you know? Because I've never been, so you don't need to attack me. But knowing 2 friends who lived there, you know, one of them I won't mention, but shout out Jamie. Knowing people who have lived there, their community or their culture seems to have a little bit more humanity, for want of a better word, a little bit more empathy 100%. Generally. 100%. And it obviously shows in their, not lack of, because they have homeless people, obviously no society is, you know, perfect, but I mean, the minimal amount they have out there kind of is a testament to their society and how they kind of deal with things, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you brought that up in terms of least, and you know, least is actually more. Okay, and the reason why I say that is councils across the country will go for stats of, you know, how many homeless people they're helping in food banks, and they want all the details from the food banks of how many people come to your food bank, how many people are using your resources, how many people are using gift aid. But that don't mean good. If you've got a council that has 50,000 people helped, and then you've got a council that has 1,000 people helped, who's doing better? This council's only helped 1,000. You know why? Because behind this 1,000, they've done all the interventions needed for those families not to become homeless. They've done all the food provisions. They've done all the benefits correctly. All the transfers to universal credit have been done correctly. What does that show? This one with 50,000 ain't done nothing. But you're glorifying these numbers for what? So I get onto any organization that glorifies high numbers, because that means you're on this self-gratification thing. And when you're on the self-gratification thing, mean you can't work. You know, before I get contacted, I do get hit up by certain organizations, and I say to myself, I look at them and I'm thinking, this is dead. I can't deal with you lot. You know, because me and you will argue. You know, you're predicting that you want your numbers to go up by the end of the year, and you wanna help X, Y, Z, but really and truly, you're asking for the numbers to spike.
Yep.
You know, so hats off to Japan, you know, for intervention.
And dealing with the problem at its source. Because
who wants to be known as the highest population country for homelessness? That's dumb. That's an embarrassment. You know, to have a country in that situation.
By the way.
Philippines. Okay.
Yeah, the Philippines. I think it's like a quarter of the population is homeless.
It's mad.
And living under the poverty line.
It's mad.
So it's really crazy. But again, they're one. I mean, obviously, I'm sure there's. I mean, I've again never been to the Philippines, so you know, don't come at me. But just going by the last statistics that were put out there and all the rest of it, and obviously, poverty is a main issue with homelessness in the Philippines. But here, like I say, family breakdowns.
Where would you say they failed in the connection between the services and the homeless people? Because, you know, like, there's a lot of people that they would love to argue that as well. Oh, there's things that they can get, and there's you know what I'm saying?
So here's a massive problem, just really quickly. They don't have addresses, so they can't access no benefits.
Thank you.
Okay, and the government aren't telling them that they can use the job centre's address as an address to get benefits. And it's a situation where it just don't make no sense. We can pass laws that put spikes outside supermarkets like they're pigeons to stop them from sleeping there. We can do all these things to stop homeless people surviving. You know, there's a Vagrant Act. The Vagrant Act makes it illegal for any homeless person on the street. It's illegal to be homeless, bro.
Vagrancy.
In 1824, they put a law out.
You could be vagrant just walking with no money on you and ID. So if you're walking with no money and ID, and you can't tell somebody where you're going to wherever, they could arrest you for vagrancy. They could effectively say you're quote unquote vagrant.
This is 1824, bro. It's like 200 years now.
It's the old law. Yeah, people don't really apply it, but the people who do can.
But police.
Kind of
I only know that. Anyway, I'm going to go.
Police have arrested people on the act.
Yeah, definitely.
Being homeless.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Nowadays, still.
That's what I'm saying to you.
More than ever.
I heard that it's come back in. Like, you can get like.
But more than ever.
If you're you know, you can easily get deported if you're homeless. Like,
yes,
if you have your papers,
bro, tents are
you
illegal.
don't even have to be homeless. You're just vagrant, meaning as in like you haven't given us an address or where you're going. You haven't got ID or any money on you. Because then that's another thing. If you don't have any legal tender or money or ID or anything like that, then you're vagrant. It's vagrancy, isn't it? You're vagrant, meaning as
bro,
in,
it's
like,
long.
Do you see what I mean?
It's long.
Yeah.
Bro, it's illegal to even have a tent.
Yeah,
you're not allowed to have a tent, fam. You know, it's
no.
You know,
that's why they move you along.
You know, like you. If you're lucky. You know, like you. call up a camping site and you say to the camping site, oh, I would like to book a tent space. Remember, this is public domain. You're not allowed to be on the roadside in a tent. But I got to put a video up the other day in America. This happened nationwide, of a woman who was on a sidewalk in a tent. 11 police officers dragged her out the tent and put her in a squad car. 11.
And this goes on.
And this happens over and over again.
And I'm really sorry to cut. This goes on to another point. This was the point that I was making about the humanity side of things. Do you know what I mean? It's like the way we deal with homeless people. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. Like the level of disdain and aggression and just, do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know why I can't even explain it. It's like, why does, and that's why the second question, which is there just a part of the human psyche that just is like I say, like a cut-off switch? Like, it's like, or is it just emotional intelligence?
Right,
Is it
do you know what? I've questioned myself this same question, so I'm glad you brought it up. And it's a situation where the three of us in this room right now, you know, if there was a protest in central London on, I don't know, Black Lives Matter, you know, that's our group. That's something we would protest. If we had a friend that was gay, that's a protest that we would be taking part of, because that's our friend, that's our circle, that's our social group. And what I've learned is that because homelessness as a whole is never brought up as an agenda and something that needs to be fixed, no part of society really plays a part in it. Yeah.
There's no kudos points either.
Exactly, and it's a thing where when you're in that situation, it's one of them things where we all know, regardless of what race or what beliefs you have, we all know that poverty and homelessness is wrong. Yeah, but because there's no movement for it, it doesn't have an agenda to be publicized. You know, and I think that's where our off switch is. I think our off switch is because no one in society is taking being an advocate for it and making it a movement. You know, and I think that's where the issue is. I think the issue is the reason why we have the off switch is because we don't have anyone to switch our on switch on. You know, that's kind of how I look at it. In that aspect. Yeah,
well, part of the reason why we brought you here is to flick that on switch on. So,
Respect,
do you know what I mean? Hopefully people are listening, do you know what I mean, taking it on. One thing I would say, relationships on the streets.
Yeah, they're beautiful, man.
Powerful things,
different.
Powerful,
you know,
things, man.
Imagine I had a woman, so through my social media, obviously I have a graphic design background, so I make these ads that will say I'm going to be in Hackney 7:00. So everyone who sees that from the day before will reshare it on their pages, so we'll get like 700-800 shares, and people will comment underneath it where they see homeless people in Hackney. So come night time when I finish work, I know where to find these people. And I remember going to Green Lanes on one night, and a homeless person made his way from Hackney all the way down to Green Lanes to meet me. So he came up to me, he's like, oh, you know, someone from your Facebook phoned my phone and said you will be down here at this time, and she told me how you looked and whatnot, so I'm introducing myself to you. So I said, oh, you know, what do you need? Because I always carry like fold blankets, toothbrushes, all that type of stuff as standard. You know, socks, you know, sanitary towels, whatever.
And a bike as well?
No. So I drive more time now. Because I need to carry more stuff with me. And I remember him saying to me, I'm hungry. So I said to him, okay, no problem. And there was a homeless person just standing next to him that I had just helped, literally just helped him. I bought him food and gave him some non-essential items. And he turned around to me and he goes, V, I'll deal with this. And he put his hand up like this. Like, don't worry, I'll deal with this. So I'm thinking, bro, like, all right, cool. Like, do your thing, bro. And he had like a little, because he hurt his leg and he had like a Zimmer frame thing and he was walking down the road with it because he got hit by a car, you know. And he crossed the road and he was on Green Lanes and he went into a Turkish shop. Now, I don't know what thing he has with this Turkish shop, but this Turkish shop gave him food. So he's gone in, taken the food, walked back across the road with it, and handed it to the homeless person that came from Hackney. What? Bro, every time I meet these people, they kick my empathy door open and they kick me down not to think like that about them. Yeah. And when I said to myself, imagine this, that's one person that has nothing given to another person that has nothing. And even when he gave him the food from the Turkish shop, like had like rice and chicken and stuff and salad and whatnot, the person who came from Hackney turned around and said to him, do you eat tuna? So the guy goes, yeah. And I'm watching this happen in front of me, Do you eat tuna? Yeah. Man picked up took out 2 cans of tuna and gave it to him. I'm saying to myself, rah. Back in the day, when I was younger, I remember how my meaning was. You could knock a man's door and say, could you borrow me some ketchup?
Yeah. Sugar.
Them days are over.
Yeah.
But you see on the street, different code.
And it's really weird that, it's funny that this has come up in so many different conversations we've had on the pod as well, because poverty, bringing the communities together. Do you know what I mean?
And families.
And hard times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Bringing people together. Do you know what I mean? And people's humanity always coming out in the worst situations. Whereas it's like the more people have, is the more they switch off that empathy switch and that connection to the other people. And it's like really weird. Like I don't even know how to terms it. Like, I can't put my finger on why that is. But it's just, like, I think, like you're saying with the personal ego, like, like that self-fame thing. It's like, look how well I'm doing. But I think, I'm in my little life, I'm doing my thing.
To bring out the human, like the humanity.
Yeah.
Like, you're forced to work with each other. And I think that's what God wants from us, to work together. Yeah. You know what I mean? To work together, to do things together. You know what I'm saying? To, as the universe, you know what I mean? As one, as one.
But I think this country in particular gives you a full sense of reality.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Everything's based on a very finance-based environment of debt.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's one of them things where you say to yourself, right, he's doing well, he's pushing a 20-plate car. But really and truly he's not. Because his bank balance would only let him have a Focus.
Yeah.
And it's one of them things where you say to yourself, you have someone that will have a fridge freezer broke down. School still running. They need to keep the food cold or it's all going to go off. So they'll run up into a company, get a finance agreement for like 24 months, 0% interest. And we'll walk out with that without that burden on their shoulders. So that's that company letting them off for 24 months without any interest. Just make those small midget payments. You're good. But they're the same people that won't help a homeless person. Tell me what household in this country that doesn't have those schemes applied to things they have in the house. Whether it be a phone, whether it be a line rental, whether it be a car, even a mortgage is midget payments to what you'd be paying on rent. And that's the thing. I think it's a situation where society lets you play this drama sketch of being something that we're continuously not. So then when you do meet someone who doesn't have the advantage to play that drama sketch of being able to have those finance agreements and stuff, they're frowned upon because they feel like they could be doing better, but they don't have access to those things. And that's what kind of makes it harder.
Like we were saying with the defense mechanism, I think it's short-wise their circuit. Just seeing that is too much harsh reality
100
for the fake. Like, you live in your whole world in this your whole life, in this pretense world. So when you see something that real, it short-wires your circuit. You can't deal with it. You're like, no, he just didn't do what he was supposed to. That's why he's messed up. Do you get what I mean?
100.
Rather than actually looking into it, because looking into it will end up breaking you. I don't think a lot of people could deal with listening to some of these people's stories. I don't think a lot of people could deal with, like I say, dealing, like, even having to or being exposed to that reality. I think it would break a lot of people emotionally, because I don't think a lot of people can deal with it, and I think that's why it's easier for them to be dismissive. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people, when they're confronted with things like that, they just become dismissive. So anyway, sorry, I'm cutting and I'm jumping, but there's so much I want to get into. So something else I want to touch on, because you mentioned it earlier, but you were saying something, so I'll let the conversation flow. But something you said earlier about councils who would put forward certain numbers, and they haven't actually done the work before that. That's why the numbers are so high. With things like that, and people who've been failed possibly by certain branches of the government, for want of a better word, in their past. I want to touch on the care home link, because the short time I spent amongst, the homeless community, I noticed a massive link between, not all obviously, but I mean a lot of people that were on the streets had some kind of care home experience in their past or background.
Yeah.
So maybe you could touch on that a little bit. And I mean, do you see it as maybe it's not like to lay blame, but I mean, if these people have been in some form of care or some form of basically the point I'm getting to is would you say that they may have been failed previously before they even got to that stage by society or, like I said, certain arms of the government?
I think in terms of being failed by society is obviously a stereotype that's tarnished on them in terms of everyone's in the same category, everyone's an alcoholic, everyone's a drug abuser. And I think in terms of being failed by the government, I get it, because time and time again we hear stories of someone being put into a care home or someone being put into a hostel, and the hostel's lasted 4 years when it's only supposed to last 3 months, or a situation where someone's gone into a foster home but they haven't done the paperwork correctly to know if that's the right fit, or stuff like, I'll give you an example. I will never mention any names, but I'll make this story really quickly. I had a lady contact me through social media and tell me her story. And her story was, she was in the house, abusive partner. She left her house, took all the stuff out because she was so scared for her safety and the kids' safety. And she put all her stuff into storage. But a nosy neighbour contacted the landlord and told the landlord that this lady was moving out. She wasn't moving out. So the landlord took it upon himself to call the council, who were paying her subsidised rent. They then stopped making payments. So then the house started being in arrears. Okay. And then what she didn't know was, when the landlord asked for the keys back to get rid of the tenancy, just by doing that, she made herself potentially homeless.
Intentionally, yeah, definitely.
Intentionally homeless.
Yeah.
She will never get housed again.
Yeah.
What?
That's the thing, bro. There's so many loopholes to how you can be failed. It is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. The problem is that we're continuously in a situation where if you don't have someone to talk to or someone who understands the legal side of stuff, you're finished.
Yeah.
And it's a situation where it's like, when it happens over and over again, what do you do with yourself? You give up.
Yeah.
I can imagine these homeless people literally sitting outside, seeing all the lights go up in central London and say to themselves, right, they're going to help us now. That's when everyone's empathy's turned on. When it's time to give them back. So when the lights go off, like, oh, they're finished with us now. And that's the reality of it. Like, they must see the decorations go up in Selfridges and say, right, they're in a giving mood. Let's get to work, guys.
Yeah.
Because the only time they're going to help us for the year.
Yeah.
It's dead.
That's crazy. There's an app that I heard of recently. Where one of my friends was going through hard times. He told me that there's an app that, when people are homeless, how are they going to have a smartphone and a charger and all of this? Like, you know what I mean? But
I think that's the one with Olio. Olio, something like that.
At the end of the day, is it at the end of the day where all of the end of the...
See, the thing is this is my motto, yeah? I wouldn't have things that...
Would you do an app yourself? That's what I was going to ask.
What, to give food away?
Yeah.
No. I think for me, it's a situation where, again, it's beggars can't be choosers. That's what the app's based on.
Yeah.
The app's based on, oh, we didn't sell all the food today, so we're not going to throw the food in the bin, but we're just going to give it to people that are hungry. That's a good initiative, but if you know, this is how I look at things, I'm a business person. If you know that you look to the numbers and every day you're wasting 20, 30 pounds worth of stock and sandwiches, then just make that £20 odd per day bursary or pot for someone who doesn't have food that comes into the market, to just give them food at their disposal. You've obviously got the means to do it because you've set an app up for it and you publicise the app. So that means you have a problem. You must have looked at your market and said, right, we're wasting all this food. let's gauge how we can pull that wastage at the end of the day and pull it into a scheme where they can have the initiative in the store and eat when everyone else eats. Why are they waiting until 12 o'clock for it to be picked up at night time, with the doors closed, to then be distributed into like a funny little food bank?
Yeah. Like a thief in the night.
Kind of doesn't.
When our customers can't see.
It don't.
Please.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's a bit mad.
But let's go into that beggars can't be choosers thing, because the whole mentality, like people assume that again, you're begging, so you shouldn't choose, or you shouldn't have a choice. You see what I mean? It's a myth in itself. I mean, we would know that, but I mean, just explain how that mentality doesn't make sense. Because I mean, I could eulogize about it for days, but I just want you to go into it. So when people say beggars can't be choosers, just explain to them why that makes absolutely no sense.
Because whether we're on a shoestring budget or 6-figure salary, we have the means to pick breakfast, lunch and dinner. Snacks in between, might feel peckish, you pop down to the shop, get your chocolate and whatnot, come back. But when we go to feed a homeless person or someone who doesn't have, we basically take it upon ourselves to go out and get that food, which is usually a sandwich or a pack of muffins that are reduced, and we just go out and we give it to them. We don't know their dietary requirements, we don't know if they're lactose intolerant, we don't know if they are gluten, we don't know nothing, no nut allergies, we don't know if they're Muslim and they don't eat pork. And that's wrong. And then obviously you will have a smart ass that will come outside the supermarket, give it to a homeless person and be like, beggars can't be choosers. Take what you're given. But that human that's on the floor, that's invisible, has the right to say he doesn't want this. So stop arguing with him. Like, don't make that an argument. If you're going to spend £3 on a meal deal, or £3.20 now, instead of going on your own self-intuition of what you think that person you've never met before wants, go outside again and say, do you know what? I've got a spare £3 odd. What would you like? He might turn on and tell you he wants a pack of apples. Or he might want
a coffee.
Let him have that choice or her have that choice for you to go back in the shop and get their need. Don't get what your need is for them.
Then would we say that? You see the word beggars can't be choosers, I don't feel like that's the problem. I feel like it's people's attitude when they're giving.
But
it does come back. The beggars can't be choosers. That if you had too much choice, like in with nothing, where would the world be? What would we?
But then can I ask you a question? But then I'll ask you a quick question. If a beggar now has the choice, because you switched that around now. So instead of saying beggars can't be choosers, the chooser is basically now in charge of that situation. Because you've taken that stereotype out, because you're not forcing that water on him.
No, definitely. I hear
so
that.
where that person is now able to say, do you know what? Instead of that transaction happening, could you get me a Lucozade? That eradicates it. That one thing must have happened years ago when we were growing up. Some jackass must have turned around and tried to give someone something, and they must have replied,
no thanks.
Oh, no thanks. And then that person replied, well, beggars can't be choosers. And walked off.
But maybe sometimes I feel like we're assuming that everyone's you're either on that side of the spectrum or that side. So you're either rich or you're poor as well. Because like there's some people just above where those homeless people are. You get what I mean?
Bro,
so,
of course.
Bro, like you have to consider everyone's situation in where they're doing it.
But see, what the point we're making is that when you say beggars can't be choosers, and that is actually a mentality. Do you understand? So this is the nuance in what we're talking about. So I'll apply the context if you like. You can be in need, and obviously when you're in a certain amount of need, any help that someone offers you, you should be grateful for. That's a fact. But there are certain times when you're in need that the help that's being offered is irrelevant to you. It cannot help you. So I'll give you an example of that. My experiences, like you said, because we've had this conversation off camera, which was basically sandwiches, and that's how we got into the sandwiches thing. So sandwiches, I don't eat pork, and I don't eat dairy products. 9 out of 10 sandwiches you're gonna get are buttered. So straight away off the bat, that sandwich is instantaneously no good to me.
Wow.
Yeah? Most of the sandwiches that you get given away are cheese. Cheese and salad, cheese and tomato, cheese and cheese and cheese. Yeah? I don't eat cheese, bro, and that sandwich is probably buttered, so that's doubly not eating. I can't even eat the filling now. Yeah? But if you come and give it to me and I'm homeless, and I say to you, oh, no, thank you, you're going to tell me beggars can't be choosers. But I cannot eat that, bro.
Yeah. But, okay, in that circumstance.
No, but that's the circumstance we're talking about. Let me just finish. Yeah. Because that's the point. The homeless people we're talking about
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I didn't say you didn't.
I said that the word beggars can't be choosers. It comes in like choice comes with having things, isn't it? Whether we like it or not. With choice comes with putting yourself in position to have choice. You don't just get...
But sometimes I think it's a situation where not everyone's dealt those set of cards. To be able to have that choice.
But no, a lot of homeless people come from rich families as well, though.
Yeah, but do you know what?
Look, what I've noticed is this, is that sometimes it can be like we can conflate issues. Do you know what I mean? So, for example, a girl gets raped, somebody say, what's she wearing? Do you know what I'm saying? You know, someone's homeless. It's like, well, blah, 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 you know, or they come from a rich family, or they do. That's all true. Do you know what I mean? But again, it doesn't negate the situation what we're talking about. The fact that they're in that situation, they're in that position. And again, it goes back to that's where the build up or the lead up to it then becomes irrelevant. So I have this same exact conversation with people about children, where I find myself explaining to somebody that we're talking about a child. And then they start telling me what they did and what's happened and what's going on and what they said. And I'm like, but we're talking about a child. Do you get what I mean?
No, I fully get what you're saying. I'm just saying the sentence beggars can't be choosers. I understand you said it don't make no sense. Yeah.
What I'm saying is,
I was just saying that like in terms of,
it makes no sense applied to homeless people.
No, I don't think it's fair applied to homeless people. But
it's not.
I feel like it still makes sense.
Yeah. No, but that's the point I'm saying to you. Is that if you are in need, I broke that down. If you're in need, do you get me? Then any help you should be grateful for.
Not necessarily, because like
any help you should be grateful
with what you were saying. Yeah, like even if you're not grateful, it's just that you ain't got a choice. It's like you ain't got a bag of choices. So if I wanted alcohol, but I'm just got water. Do you know what I'm saying?
But then I think
I can't get the alcohol.
But then I think
it's not part of the choice of what things I've got.
Yeah,
you know, like in life, I can't just get a Lamborghini. You know what I'm saying? And like,
yeah, but you've got the means to work towards that change, though. That's the problem.
I believe that everyone that's healthy has, though.
No, you're not.
No,
not at all.
But some people you feel like have no hope in.
Not that they have no hope, but it's 10 times harder for them. Yeah. Do you know what? I'll give you an example. Yeah, if you have an individual who has a very hard upbringing in terms of mental health, let's say. Yeah. Okay, they've got to spend at least 5 to 10 years just fixing their mindset to get back into society properly without being on drugs, as an example. Yeah. So their means of getting to that Lamborghini level are going to be far harder than someone else who doesn't have those situations going on. That's only one aspect. Okay. So for me, it's a situation where if you're having to come from the ground up, and you're always taught that mentality of beggars can't be choosers, that's gonna close your mindset to what you feel like you can achieve, because it's gonna stereotype you to feeling you don't need to dream about those things because beggars can't be choosers. You're a beggar. You're asking for help, so don't expect nothing.
Get what you get.
And I think
in
that's
the world
where
we live in, asking for help constantly. Like you know what I mean. I feel like again, there's patches in it. You know what I mean. And when I look at something like homelessness, I look at homelessness should always be a patch in someone's life. Like just like anything else, even richness can sometimes just be a patch in someone's life. You're not rich forever. You're not homeless forever. Do you get what I'm saying? So,
but that's the thing. Some people are.
Yeah. So the thing is, even with homelessness,
and that's a different discussion. And then you've got the non-genuine homeless people. That we haven't discussed.
You know what I say to those people though?
Make money.
Is you have someone that will. I had someone ask me this. You know, how do you distinguish a homeless person that needs help and a homeless person who doesn't need the help? You can't. But what will happen is the money or the help you give them will be so cursed because they're doing it in the wrong way. Let them take that karma. That's down to them. You know, and the situation is that even when you give to a homeless person, you help that individual go forward with whatever they're doing with it.
No, you're right.
it doesn't take away from the deed.
Because it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because I remember it's going back a few years. This is after my encounter and all the rest of it. And anyway, I was somewhere with somebody I'm not going to mention, and a homeless person came up, and I gave them a $5, and they were stuck on the fact that the person was clearly a crackhead. Do you get what I mean? But my whole point to him is that he's clearly homeless. So I'm not stuck up on what drugs or substances he may or may not take in his spare time.
Yeah.
I was more caught up on the fact that he was homeless. Do you see what I mean? And they were just like, yeah, but you gave him a $5. Do you know what he's going to do with that? He's going to like that's going to now change my mind, and I'm going to chase him down and be like, give me back that money. Do you get what I mean? Don't spend it on crack.
Yeah.
Whatever he's going to do with the money, and I don't know if he did. He might have just gone and got some food. He might have gone and got a drink. He might have done whatever he's going to do with it. However it's going to help him.
Is what it is.
But it's funny that, innit? Because you have someone who's a CEO of a company that will be someone who takes drugs. Yeah. But then you have someone who is at rock bottom in life that takes drugs, and they're deemed to be the bad person.
Yeah.
This person who's up here taking drugs is deemed to be someone who's just living life. And they're the same people, but just because of worldly possessions makes them so despondent from each other. It's a situation where it's okay to do this in a house party with girls and money and pools and stuff, but it's not okay because this homeless person only does that. It's mad. You know, drugs as a whole nationwide doesn't stay up based on homeless people. They're not keeping that trade up. They're not keeping the trappers up with money and chains and stuff. It's not them.
Slightly out though.
Huh?
Slightly up.
No, they don't.
What?
They're not, man.
The crackheads are not keeping the trappers?
No, homeless people.
No, but I'm saying some of these homeless people are the crackheads.
No, I just said that.
So they are keeping the trappers up.
No, not in that respect, bro. Listen, you got to think about it, yeah? Okay, I'll give you an example.
All of them.
No, but that's the point, isn't it? So you can't say they're keeping them up. They're not. No. They're part of this. They might be part of their daily routine, but they're not keeping them up. They're not keeping them up.
So there was
that £20. In fact, most of the trappers you're talking about, they're trying to stay away from them, man. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
Let's just be real. They're trying to stay away from them, man.
Because in essence, when you sit down and think about it, yeah, we had a MP candidate for the Tories. Yeah. Okay, Sean, I can't remember his name. This guy went on national TV and telling us that he believes that homeless people can afford a $5,000 mortgage.
Yeah, them man are lost. Yeah, they're lost. All them people that come with them. Because from where they're standing, you should be able to afford anything. It's only $5,000.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is that, like me, if I walked into a showroom for a car and I slapped 50 bags down and said, right, I want this car.
You get arrested.
Okay, yeah, I'm getting arrested. If a homeless person, based on their parents, even though it shouldn't happen, walks into a bank and says, here's my $5,000 deposit for this scheme.
Arrested.
Bro, where did you get $5,000 from?
In fivers and £2 coins.
Yeah, so what is that all about? You know? And even to have $5,000, how are you supposed to save that? How are you supposed to even be safe on the street with that?
Yeah.
You know? And sometimes I sit there, like even we had another councillor. He's not like an MP or anything. Was he an MP? He's one of them like out of London people.
Right.
And he said publicly that he feels it's wrong that homeless people have been put up in these hotels during lockdown.
Yeah. I think I see that, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You know? You're an idiot. Yeah. You should have just kept that in your head. You just said that with your family at home while you're watching the dog or stroking the dog, whatever. Serious. But don't say that publicly. You're an absolute fool. Because why shouldn't they? They're human beings. Yeah. And the thing is that I don't understand what this wedge is we've got of people that don't have, because they become invisible. Yeah, you blot out someone you see on the street daily. It's just like, you know, like back in the day where you'd be sitting in a car and your mum's trying to keep you quiet, and your mum will say, all right, V, how many red cars can you see? And you count the red cars on the way home. Yeah. But when you start opening up to homeless people and people that are vulnerable and people that need help, that game don't stop. Because you see them over and over again. It's just like today, I was rushing. The reason why I was calling you is because I met someone, just by me going to Wood Green, I met someone that needed help, but I left my bank card at home. and I was phoning you to see if I could come later.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I just used my personal. And I just bought his stuff for him. Like, I mean, you know, one time someone called me and said to me, someone's in Enfield who is literally, he looks messed up. Like, holes everywhere in his clothes. When I went there, I met this guy who's he must be about 70. Wow. Easy. He's living in a garage with his girlfriend. So they're staying in the garage. And he's just by Krispy Kremes in Enfield. Across the road from the cinema. And I'm looking at him, and you know when your clothes are dirty until they're shiny? I'm saying, rah, this is like the worst case scenario I've ever seen with a homeless person. And he's standing there, and he's got a thing called trench feet. So trench feet is when your feet get so wet, they start to blister and they start to inflame and start to get bigger. And he can hardly walk. And I'm saying to myself, right, this is mad. This is the beginning of lockdown. There's no shops open. It's literally Krispy Kreme, Sainsbury's, and McDonald's. That's what's next to me. I'm saying to myself, rah, what am I going to do? So I went into Sainsbury's. I bought him a pair of combat trousers, a new top, pair of trainers, socks, and some other little bits like food and stuff. It cost me like £60-something pound. But that's the thing. It's the choice. You know, it shouldn't be a situation where I look at him and gauge what I feel he needs and drive off. And be like, what to do? I bought him a pair of socks. I'm gone now. Because you ain't done nothing. Yeah. That's just your own feeling, your own gratification. And once you open yourself to not thinking about self, you start to realize the bigger picture. You know, that's why you will never catch me go to a homeless person and say to a homeless person, I've got some sandwiches for you. I always ask them what they want. I've bought people stew chicken and rice and peas from Brown Eagles. I've bought doner kebabs. There's a woman called Margaret in Hackney. Every time I meet her, she wants a beef pizza with green peppers and barbecue base with a can of Diet Coke. They need to have that choice. And I think it's a situation where if they don't have that choice, I'm not breaking that stereotype of beggars can't be choosers.
Have you seen it help them advance when you...
100%. Because the thing is that once you start building trust, because it's not about self no more, they're more open to trust you, to allow you to put things into perspective. And I think as an education of what I'm trying to educate people with from how they look at me in social media, because I'm educating them on all these points I'm talking about in this podcast, it's a situation where they're now thinking different. All right, if I'm going to buy you a coffee that cost me £2.40, what would you like for that £2.40?
Exactly.
Or, you know, I've got these give back packs that are like maybe like that size, and they've got 14 items of like non-essential stuff, so like waterproof ponchos, toothbrushes, hand sanitizer, antiseptic wipes, plasters and stuff. And I send them up and down the country. And someone who doesn't have the means to help them because they're looking after themselves can contact me and I'll ship them out. And they can give those 50 packs out to people that they see on the street. And I've even implemented those packs into the streetwear side of things, which is obviously the CA6's brand, where you buy jumpers and you get given that as a free gift. You don't know what the gift is, but when it turns up at your house and you see the contents and it says, you know, someone in your area needs it, they know what to do with it. And that gives them that thought process of, right, it's actually not about me. This person's thought about someone else. I need to start doing this. And obviously it's a situation where I have people that I've grown with that I haven't spoke to for time, and now coming through my social media saying, rah, V, like, I should have been doing this with you, like, let's do a run. And they'll come on runs with me, you know? Like, I had one brethren come with me on a run, like, proper road, man. And he's in tears on the way home. He's like, bruv, I've never stopped to talk to these people, you know? And that's the thing, it's a situation where they are the real people. You know, those homeless people are the real people that don't have the stresses of life that we deem as stresses. We deem as, you know, oh, we didn't pass that finance agreement. We're pissed off now with society.
First world problems, as
you
I
know?
call them.
But they have the real problems, but they're still humble with it. And it does make you sit down and think to yourself, you know, you start repositioning your chessboard and saying to yourself, I'm actually not the king and queen of this thing.
Yeah.
You know, I need to go back to where the pawns are on the front and look back at my squad and saying, right, let's make a readjustment on how our community works and let's go forward.
That's major.
And if you're not going forward with the right, just, you know, strategies in place, that opposition, which is the higher powers, whatever they put forward for homeless people or anything to do with poverty has never worked before.
Yeah.
So that whole reshuffle of cabinet and how those things work and how that game's worked for those years don't work.
Yeah.
You know, that's why, you know, I've got links with dry cleaners. You know, I think you might have seen that on my social media where I linked with a dry cleaning chain that owns 4 different dry cleaners across London. They will wash homeless people's clothes based on a card I give them. They can walk into the laundrette, get their clothes washed for free.
Wow.
You know, that's nothing out of my pocket. That's someone seeing my social media and saying, rah, this guy's on point.
Yeah.
I need to give back.
Yeah.
You know, I have tabs in chicken shops up and down certain parts of Haringey. I put money behind the till. Homeless people go with my card. Not bank card, but like a little card I made with my logo. I hand that card to them. They buy whatever they want. He staples a receipt to it. When the tab's finished, he phones me. I go and top it back up again. And I think, obviously, you know, if I gave you £1,000 in your hand now, and then between a week before, prior to me giving you that £1,000, and after that, if someone comes to you with a story and says to you, oh, do you know what? I'm short £900 on my rent. That money is intentionally not for you.
Yeah.
Pay it forward. Stop holding on to things that are meant for other people. And I think that's why we don't grow. We don't grow as a circle because we're so self-centered, self-motivated. We don't want to hear about other people's problems. Bro, I'll publicly say this. I don't think there's any household or any person on earth that has never been in a situation where they're £10 short for something or £5 short for something or Mum, you know, I know I'm a big man, but can you squeeze me a £50 this month? We've all been there. So the fact that we forget ourselves growing up and getting these worldly possessions confuses the hell out of me. And that's the thing. We turn this empathy switch off because we don't think we need it no more. But we do need it because it will happen to you, bro.
Do you think it gets highlighted when the people that, like yourself, you know what I mean? Like people that's doing things like yourself, do you think they get highlighted enough for, and then like on a mainstream? Because when you, like you said, as soon as people see what you're doing, they're just keen to get involved.
Do you know what?
This is the point.
I don't think we do, but it's one of them situations where I'm a man that's not publicity doesn't do anything for me. You know, I'm more a man that will do that good deed, keep it moving. And I don't think it will ever be publicized on mainstream media because what does that do to them? It shows them that the interventions nationwide don't work. So it will never happen. I'm understanding it will never happen, but I'm getting to a point now. I'm getting so stressed out with our government that man are calling out MPs. I don't care no more. Like it's not a thing for me. Like I'll call out Lamy all day long. You know, and you know. It's just like if I give you a job and I say to you, you know, right, you're going to come work for me, be a graphic designer. Anything you do outside work, don't make it impact on your daily job. You agree with it. You sign the contract. How can you be the MP for Tottenham and be a shadow secretary and be an LBC presenter? So for me, where he's doing all these different things, that's pulled you away from your first contract. And for me, it's like, bro, I didn't know you were an MP for 21 years. He's been an MP from 2000 to now, uncontested. So,
but they put people in places like that guy, the black man in place so they can.
But do you know what, bro? I'll be honest with you.
Bernie Grant will be
who he took over from, God rest his soul. How can you be talking about someone who has gone, someone who's present, you dismiss? Yeah? I'm 34. I'm drawing for an MP that was our MP before 2000. I've never met the guy. I only know about his work. Yeah? They built a man a whole building.
Solid.
Yeah? I don't think when this position's finished of what David Lammy has as a position as our MP for Tottenham, he's lucky if he gets a post box.
It's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
because anything that
You might get a wanted flyer. That's what you might get.
I might make one. Yeah, so
Graphic designer,
anything,
that's how you
come
know
on,
you don't
anything that he,
Sorry,
anything that
I always
he,
have to go left, so.
anything that he does has to have a volume of likes and cameras.
And the
Yeah,
Windrush
definitely.
thing.
You know,
Definitely. No,
But
the Windrush
obviously-
thing was anyway. Don't start.
yeah.
No,
So
no,
someone
no, say it.
someone gave me a little birdie that I know where he's gonna be soon, so I'm gonna touch down
Yeah.
and have that conversation with him because he's he knows what I'm doing 100% because I got to a point where I was so stressed out one time. I typed in, I was like, right, everyone at David Lammy underneath the post, and my whole community went nuts. Like literally, David Laker, come and do your job. David Lammy, your joke thing. Like everyone was just on him, you know. And it's a situation where you think to yourself, all right, cool. You know, if I turn on and said, everyone at Anthony Joshua, I want to fight him, everyone would be like, what?
Yeah.
Verral, shut up. You know,
Yeah.
go and sit down. Because he's a heavyweight boxer. You have no position because you're not a boxer yourself. I don't know what you're doing. But when you call out the heavyweight for Tottenham and you're saying to him, listen, Mr. Shadow Secretary, I don't care who you are, like you need to come back to your ends and do your job. It's a situation where when your community are backing you, saying to you, yeah, you got to come. What does that do? That puts you in a place where, even though he's got his title and he is who he is, I'm clearly who I am, but I warrant that conversation with you.
Yeah.
So it's like your community are backing you to that level, so it has to be something. You know, so obviously they must, in a sense, believe in you for you to warrant that conversation or you to warrant that call out.
100%.
And it's arrogant of an elected MP to think that he shouldn't be having these conversations
Exactly.
with his constituents.
What are you there for?
That's ridiculous.
Your
Do you get what I mean?
Your MP usually, like, I think they even forgot what
That's my point.
their whole
That's
thing
my
is.
that's my point. I mean, me not knowing about what V's doing and what he was doing and what he is doing, that's one thing. But David Lammy, you're supposed to have contact or like long time. Do you get what I mean? That's like basic stuff.
Yeah.
He's supposed to have heard about this. He's supposed to be touching base. But again, this is the point, isn't it? Like you said, when you're on he's on everything, isn't he? What isn't he on? He's LBC.
I'm sure he might have a book.
I was going to say he's got a few things coming out. I'm sure he's got a few things dropping.
Autobiography.
Yeah, but hit us up anyway, David, man. We'd like to talk to you. You know what I mean? Maybe you could sit down with us and come on this platform, you know what I mean, and talk to the community. You know what I mean? But anyway,
that would be amazing, isn't it?
That'd be amazing. It's an open invitation. If you ever want to take it up with us, you know what I mean? Go in the comments, go on your Twitters at David Lammy, do you know what I mean? En route to clarity and all of that good stuff. Something I wanted to touch on, which is the stats. We still haven't given them up. I flicked through some from 2018, the last ones I could get, but I know you would have more recent ones. And I left it that way just so you could add on. So, you know, like people, because what a lot of people do is they look at like the old stats and they're like, whatever. But they don't actually, obviously you being in the field, you'd be more up to date with what's going on. So let's just take it from 2018. Yeah, let's take it from 2018.
I'll do one better. I'll give you stats from January of this year.
No, that's why I'm doing it. So I'm going to give you mine from 2018.
Yeah.
And then I want you to hit me with January this year.
Yeah.
So 103,000 homeless people were young people in the UK. So 103,000 homeless young people in the UK in 2018.
What's considered young as well? Like, to go under 18?
Under 21, I would imagine.
Under 21.
Yeah.
Which they keep benchmarking, by the way, to make the stats
drop. Yeah.
So they change the stats and class under 25s is young, just to make it plateau.
Yeah, depending on what they're trying to change. So if the stats from 21 to 30 are going up, then they'll move what is a young person from 21 to 25 to you see what I mean? So we'll keep that in mind because obviously stats can be skewed and used for whatever. But let's just go with what the numbers are, because even those numbers, as skewed as they may or may not be, they're still frightening.
Yes.
When you think about how much people are actually in the country as a whole.
Because when I did helped some homeless shelter that's down the bottom of the road, the church, that's what scared me. Because how much young people I saw in there.
Yes.
I didn't think it was that, like, it was majority young people in there. Yeah.
So January this year.
So January this year, there were 288,423 households contacted their local authorities to stop them from being homeless. Alone.
Yeah.
That's January this year. And you got to remember, like, these are houses where the scheme has gone for landlords to kick them out because they haven't paid the rent.
Yeah.
This is houses that have dropped 20% in pay.
Mm-hmm.
This is houses that haven't been able to shop in places like a £1 shop, but have been forced to shop in Sainsbury's to buy something as simple as candles will cost £3 instead of £1.
Yeah.
And this is people being laid off because jobs weren't open.
Yeah.
This is people not being able to transfer to universal credit properly because the councils are shut and everyone's working from home.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just mad. You know, we had 77,000 jobs lost last year alone. Imagine that. 77,000 people don't have a job no more. Yeah.
And some of those people were in those jobs for years.
Yeah.
Years. Like, in fact, the reason why they were in there for so long because it was guaranteed work. You know when that old school term they used to say, oh, it's guaranteed work. Like, it's a guaranteed wage. You remember that? Yeah, that yeah.
So
the pandemic changed all of that.
Yeah. So what you're gonna have now is you're gonna have bro. You know, I don't like projecting numbers, but the way things are going right now, we're only at the tip. You know, and as many thought processes and as many changed mindsets as I can has to happen very, very quickly.
Fast,
because we are our biggest support network.
Yeah, definitely.
There's many people in organizations that are puzzle pieces that when they come together, it will paint a bigger picture of what's actually going on.
Yeah.
And it's a situation where we haven't hit nothing yet. You know? I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tottenham. You obviously. So Tottenham, they have a food bank, Selby Centre.
Yeah.
Selby Centre will push out like, I can't even remember their numbers. Yeah. But I'm talking a queue from Selby Centre all the way back onto White Hart Lane. Okay. That is a long queue.
Yeah.
It's like 1,000. I'm not particularly correct, but I think it's like 1,000 bags of food that can be given out in one day. I might try and pull the stats up on my phone. But that happens, you know. And sometimes hearing that number will show you what the problem is. I'm okay if you're highlighting that number and being, right, we got a problem. Numbers have jumped from 1,000 a day to 2,000. What's the gap?
Yeah.
But if it's going to be based on numbers because, whoop-de-doo, look at us. No. Clap that down because, you know, that's why I love Musa and I love Sally. So they run the Selby Centre. And the Selby Centre runs on a different initiative. They don't care. You know, to go into a food bank, you have to be referred.
Yeah.
You can't just drop into a food bank.
No.
Yeah, so you need to be referred.
And that's come with COVID.
No.
Because one time there was a food bank that's around there, yeah?
It's a grassroots food bank, so
everyone
it'll be open to anyone.
Okay.
If it's like a church run one, or then they can do what they want, isn't it? Obviously, they're independent, isn't it? But generally, the government-based ones, you have to be referred, as far as I'm aware, anyway.
Yeah, they're like proper places.
Yeah, you have to.
So what happens is you actually put on a system that shows you that you've used the food bank. Okay, so you fill out a form, they put your details into a computer, and then you use it for that 3 times, and you're done. It's like 3 shots.
You use it 3 times?
3 times, bro.
So after you use food bank,
it's not every week, thing.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
What, you thought because you was homeless, you could just come to this food bank all the time and you just get food?
Nah, bro.
Do you know, like that's not the community centre was telling me, tell people to come and get some food. They just
but they can because they're grassroots. But make them go and take a funding from their local council, and their council tell you, no. We're gonna give you 10 grand to keep you up and get your food in, but you're gonna have to bring these initiatives in, and you can't feed people outside of your borough.
That's fact.
And that's why I don't take money from my local authority. I haven't gone for it.
Yeah.
But I know if my council are going to give me funds, they're going to turn around and tell me, right, V, you know what? When you're on the roads and you're giving out things, make sure you look at the postcode you're dropping off, because you're not allowed to go into Islington, and you're not allowed to go into Hackney, you're not allowed to go into Walthamstow or Leighton.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
I'm not a policeman that has borders, bro. Like, I've got to keep it moving. If someone calls me from social media, says to me, bro, I remember in the early days when I started this, like it's been long, you know. I remember in January, I got a phone call to say to me, there's someone sleeping rough in Broxbourne. I live in Tottenham. I've jumped in my car. They give me the postcode of where to go. I went at about 10:30 at night. Pitch black. You know when the ice was on the floor?
Where's Broxbourne? Sorry.
Broxbourne's just past Cheshunt side.
Yeah.
So I pulled up and I've gone down the canal. And I'm walking down the canal, no lights, you know. Thinking, right, this is a bit sketchy still. And I've turned my torch on my phone and I'm trying to walk. And they told me what the person's name was who was sleeping underneath the bridge. So I've gone, Ali. So then I see like a fire pit and like a steel can. Like them end times movies. So he's come out, he goes, who's there? So I said, it's V. He goes to me, who's V? So he started coming towards me and I'm thinking, rah, like, this is mad. But obviously I explained to you after, but people on my social media, they're on my Facebook live. So they're with me, they know what I'm doing. So the guy comes to me and he goes, you okay? So I said to him, yes, I'm okay. I said, I've come to help you. He goes, you've come to help me? What organisation are you from? I said, I'm from no organisation. I'm on my own. I do it for myself. So he goes to me, okay, what did you bring? So I said to him, I bought socks. I bought you a jacket. I bought you some food. Them times I didn't know about their own agenda of what they dietary requirements were. So I just brought food to him. And he goes, oh, wow, this is great, man. And he goes, I feel really bad. I said, why? He goes, I just wish this was somewhere I could invite you to have some tea. What? This is the early days. I'm thinking, raw. Like, he already has nothing, but he's thinking that he needs to have a hospitality towards me. So I'm like, no, it's okay, man. He goes, why are you wearing this mask? So I said to him, it's lockdown. He goes, what's lockdown? I said to him, what? He goes, what's lockdown? I said, do you know what COVID is? He's like, COVID? I said,
about the TV,
bro. He's got no TV, no internet,
no radio,
no nothing. So I said to him, bro. He goes, I keep going to my local council, and the security guard tells me that everyone's staying home, but I don't understand why. I just need help from my council. So I'm saying to him, bro, that's what lockdown is. It means no one is in a shop, no one is in an office. Everyone is home. And he's like, I've never heard of this stuff. And it blew me to a different level. And I said to him, Ali, look, what do you need? What do you need off the internet? He goes, nothing. I'm okay, man. I'm so grateful for what you've got. And I looked, he said, he invited me over to where he stays and he showed me his setup and whatnot. He's, how he had his sheets made up for a bed and how he makes like a little fire pit to cook some food and, someone donated a barbecue, like a little small. And he's got like a little setup in there. And he showed me his environment, and just based on looking at his need, I was like, all right, cool. Let me go and do something for him. And I remember leaving him and saying, look, I'm going to come and find you in 2 days. I'm going to come back for you. And he didn't tell me what he wanted. And I literally went back on my social media. Like, it was still live this whole time. And I clicked it and I said, you lot, what should I get him? And everyone was like frozen. They didn't know what to say to me or because that was mad. You found someone who doesn't know about what's going on, who's obsolete from everything, who doesn't have a clue. So I'm like, all right, cool. Got home. I bought him a new pair of trainers, that brand new pair of trainers. Brand new radio from Argos with insurance. I bought him batteries for his torches and stuff that he's got there. I bought him a saw to cut firewood. And I brought it back down to him and I said, look, bro, this is for you. And this guy literally was bawling. Yeah, because imagine, these are things that I would take for granted. I don't even know where my saw is at home. I don't know where my crep are half the time. Yeah. I don't know where batteries are. If I need batteries, I go to the shop. I've got many means of knowing what's going on in society. but he had none of them. And this is what I'm saying. Every household has that one cupboard or that one loft or that one drawer of stuff they don't need, you know? But if we were to take those stuff out and give it to a homeless person, old footballs, old jackets, old Wellingtons that the kids used to wear, screws, tools, all resources that a homeless person could do with. It's just like shelter. Shelter as a charity was based for homeless people. Okay? But them again, just like how we have our lofts and stuff, they have storerooms all across the country with hats, scarves, gloves, books for them to read. But you've got your voluntary team in there. Why are voluntary team not taking those resources and hitting the road? Okay? And that's the type of things that confuse me. It's like we've had lockdown, you were allowed to do voluntary work. You were allowed to go on the road and help people that needed help.
The best time as well. There's no traffic.
If you've got your storeroom in Crouch End, your storeroom in Tottenham, your storeroom in Walthamstow, you're up on me. Okay, I shouldn't be leaving my yard to go to Broxbourne. Shelter as a charity for homeless people should be saying, right, boom, government, I don't care what you're saying. We're opening our shop. We're not opening it shop to the general public, which is your guidelines, but we're going to open it for our homeless people to walk in there, take the resources and go. Or if that's not okay, let's do a click and collect. Where they click a button on the wall that says jacket and what size, you come to the door, you give them their jacket and their size. You've still done click and collect, but it just shows that you are not about this no more. But it's not your fault. The reason why it's not your fault is because when you start hitting funding, you have all these tick boxes for what you've got to do to keep those funding criteria, things in place.
Definitely.
You forget what you're about. That's why I'm not on a funding tip. I will never take funding because I'm not here for someone to say, rah, you see all this stuff and what V's doing, I gave him $5,000 and that's because of me. You went here when I had nothing. You know? And that's the thing, it's
and even just the fact of funding it and then wanting to control it. So it's like, we'll fund it, you know, here's 500,000. But just don't do it in Camden, you know. Stick to Haringey, you know. Don't do, like all these like stipulations that come along with the money is part of the problem as well. Do you know what I mean? And when we're talking about like the different arms of government, like I said before, like with the care link and all these things, we haven't touched on suicide and mental health. Do you know what I mean? There's so much things we haven't even touched on. Do you know what I mean? And we could go on and on and on for days. But suicide and mental health. In fact, maybe we should do it the other way around. Mental health and suicide within the homeless community. I mean, I'll just speak on my own personal experience because this is all stuff that I've just jotted down off of my own personal. Do you get what I mean? So, mental health is an issue within the wider society generally, as we all know. But you can only imagine how, I mean, because remember, a lot of people end up homeless via some kind of trauma anyway. Do you see what I mean? Like I said, like, you know, domestic violence, you know, family breakdown. And when you say family breakdown, that doesn't even make it sound like what it actually is, because you have to understand, like, let me give you an example. Like, an 18-year-old girl that I knew, you know, she was thrown out of her house, you know, family breakdown. But just think about how deep it has to be. Do you see what I mean? I mean, I'm not going to go into her personal story. Do you see what I mean? But again, like I say, like, imagine how deep it has to be for your parents to throw you out as a vulnerable 18-year-old. And then on the other hand, you viewing the environment as so toxic that you don't want to be there. You don't want to be there. Do you get what I mean? So that in itself is trauma. Then you end up on the street. And this is another thing we haven't gone into, the dangers and the perils. The dangers and the perils on the street. Do you understand what I mean? It's crazy.
I watched a video. I watched a video of someone riding a bike, and he took petrol and threw it over. He doused the homeless person in petrol like this and set him alight. He tried to flick the lighter on him, and it didn't catch the first time, and he done it again, engulfed in flames. Why are you setting? Do you know how many times a homeless I've seen or read reports of people urinating on them or slashing their tent for no reason? And twos, the way TikTok's moving, there'll be some kind of thing of how much problems can you cause a homeless person. Like, this is the society we're in. It's evolving to put people in hardship and limelight that hardship. And I don't understand it. You know, it's a very confusing situation to be in, to watch things unfold, and the way things are going, it's not unfolding for good.
Yeah, for the better. No,
you know, it's a bit mad. And home, you know, just like we go home and we, you know, put a key in the door, we don't think about being able to put a key in the door and turning it and knowing that that's our safe space.
Shutting the door and locking it.
Exactly.
And you're inside and everything else is outside.
Exactly. But imagine never having a space, never having 4 walls to keep those possessions. It's just like, you know what it's like? It just made me think, it's like when you go on holiday and you lock your hotel room door, there is a part of you that feels like, raw, someone, you know, the maid or someone might steal something.
Yeah, because someone else has got the key. Yeah. Someone else could just go in.
But even though we've paid for that space, we still think like that. Yeah. But imagine a homeless person who has loads of possessions and feels that they can just leave it outside the Tesco's or something, and the local authorities come and pick it up and put it in the bin, and then they turn and say, "Where's my stuff? If you want it, it's in the bin. It's in the skip," which has happened.
Yeah. That's their family pictures.
So I'm saying, bruv, like
that's everything.
It's not a joke.
That's everything.
It's like, not literally a joke. It's mad.
You know, even when I went to Barcelona, that homelessness there hit me differently. Because you know, here we kind of used to the pattern of how it is. You know, like how we're gonna see them and that. Like I went to Barcelona and there was families sleeping under the hotel that I was going to stay. So it wasn't even like, you know, like even all the way to the hotel, I'm seeing like lines of people underneath places, like, and then when we got to the hotel, big line of people, and you know, you see, and then, you know, it's how healthy they looked. I'm not saying it's crazy, is it? Because we kind of used to seeing people look a bit down here when they're homeless, whether it's their clothes or whatever. But there was a healthy couple with their child, and you know, like there's the mum trying to comfort the youth, and the youth didn't even look like a youth that knows homelessness like that. It's just like this is their situation right now. But there's such a big group of them. It's like they all sleep together underneath, like you know, like shops or hotels and things like that. They wouldn't even be allowed to do that here.
No way.
But I think what adds to that as well is that England is a very weathered country. Yeah. So if you're someone, it's just like a shed. Yeah. A shed outside will be brand new. 6-7 months, it would look like it's been there for years.
Yes.
You know, because it goes through so many elements. You can't treat it to find all the elements. You know,
something's gonna get it.
England's one of the only countries you can book a 2-week holiday and have snow, summer, winter, all in the 2 weeks. A bargain. You know, you've been able to dress in every climate.
Yeah, literally.
You know, so it's a situation where it's like you have people who are going to be out there now in England, in Switzerland, all those cold countries are going to be subject to so much more things to deal with on a day-to-day. It's just like, as an example, my wife, my wife has, and I think most people in general, not even just females, she has 3 suitcases of summer clothes. Okay, so when summer's starting to creep up, you start seeing her, you know, open up the suitcase and get all of her old clothes out and stuff. It got me thinking, I've spent all this time trying to keep them warm. What have I got to do now to keep them cool? It's a whole switch over now. So I've had to be clever. I've had to go and order all my sunglasses already. I've had to go and get all my sun creams already just to be patterned and ready for it. Because we're gonna have a mad heat wave. April was April showers. We're gonna have a mad heat wave this year. So obviously it's like being ready, because now we're going to have people that were in need because they could have died through cold, and then now we're going to have people that are going to be dehydrated.
No, it's amazing what you do.
It don't stop, bro. So I would love you guys to, it might not happen, but anyone who watches this, I'm going to put something together where I'd like you to sign it. A bit like a petition, but I'm going to get you guys to email one company in particular. I want you to email Slush Puppy. What I want to do is I want to have 4 refuel stations across London. And when I go out with my squad and I give them a certain cup, I want to be able to go to there, because it will have ice and whatnot, sugar levels and all that type of stuff with diabetes and stuff. I want it to be able to go there and refill, jam around that area and be just cool. You know, everyone loves a Slush Puppy in the summer. And obviously I'm going to be riding around my squad and have like drinks and stuff. So any drink companies, I'll be getting onto them to try and get some stuff, get some ice packs and stuff out. Not all that good stuff, man, because it's just forward thinking, bro.
That'd be amazing, man.
It's big thinking.
That'd be amazing, man. Yeah, and it is forward thinking, man. It's really progressive, man. So actually, as we've got onto that, the help that's available
to me,
for the homeless people and the changes that need to happen. So obviously we've touched on the humanities side and the general things that the general public can do. But I mean, just like as we were talking about earlier, the powers that be and things like that. The help that's available to them at the moment, what that is, what it's looking like, and basically the change that you might have seen doing the work that's needed. What's the most beneficial change that could happen instantaneously? Do you see what I mean?
Them to be seen as people.
Yeah, which is why I always go back to the humanities side.
Definitely. I think once they're seen as human beings,
that is it in a nutshell, isn't it? Really,
there's no other answer to it.
Yeah.
Until they're seen as people and not seen as the invisible person that just sits on the corner.
Yeah.
Do you know what annoys me? You have someone that sits outside Sainsbury's and no one will ever take notice of them. But make that local newspaper turn and say that Barry passed away. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Barry.
What? It's always outside Sainsbury's.
No.
Yeah.
The guy with the red hat.
Yeah.
Oi, Sally. You know that guy that sits outside Sainsbury's? He passed away, you know. You lot never spoke about him once.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's almost like
everyone knew he was there. Everyone knows his name.
And it's mad. They need to be seen as humans.
Yeah.
And soon you're gonna have people in my ends that are gonna be walking around in Jordans and stuff.
Yeah.
In crap.
In fact,
No problem. So basically,
give him the good news.
So social media obviously loves challenges. Yeah. Just like we've seen with these mad TikTok challenges.
Oh, yeah.
So challenge I'm going to put in place is basically an individual will do a crep challenge. Okay, so what will happen is you'd be like, yo, my name's, what's your name again, bro?
Jay.
My name's Jay. C86 is a bad boy movement at the moment. I'm donating these crep to C86 and you just slap the camera with it.
Yeah.
But you tag yourself in it. And then what will happen is he will see Jay's video and be like, rah, Jay donated XYZ as trainers. And it's a human thing to outdo someone. It's just human nature. Yeah. You always want to outdo someone. Yeah. So what the reason why I've designed it like that is because by him trying to outdo you, you're not going to give me any busted crep. Okay, so I'm going to end up with a floodload of TNs, Jordans, sandals, shoes, Birkenstocks that are going to be okay for a homeless person. Yeah. So that's the thing. I think with myself, I will never give a homeless person or someone in need something that I wouldn't wear myself. That's dead. Like that's basics. If I wouldn't go into a supermarket and buy certain things for myself as food to eat, why am I giving it to someone else? I don't even eat the muffins that were reduced. But I'm ready to pass it on to someone else. And that's the thing. It's like, number one rule, if you've got kids and you send your kids to school, you phone the teacher and say, look, what kid has a nut allergy? Because you want to provide that fruit for them. That's that non-adjective food that they can't have. There's loads of new things that have come in terms of food that kids can't have or people can't have. They're allergic to them. Definitely. So it's that mentality. And I think if I stick to that mentality, I'm going to stick to that mentality. It will progress because I'm doing things that I would want done for myself. I've never been homeless. But when you are open to it, you start thinking like them. You do start thinking like them, and it does become a feeling of, right, that woman Margaret I met in Hackney, would she be happy with that? And like I get mad support. I'm not gonna front. I get mad support when it comes to my community. Either they've shared where someone is staying, or they've, just like this morning, I got a phone call at about 8:09, and the woman, I answered, the woman's called Vanessa, bless her. She was on the way to work, and she said, Verral, I've got a big problem. She's like, what? She said, there's a guy standing outside Wickes with no shoes on, no socks. He's walking around barefoot with a blue sleeping bag. So I'm like, what? So she's like, have I woke you up? I'm like, no, I'm coming. Go over there and ask him what size shoes he is. And he said he was a size 12. I'm a size 12. So I literally went in my room and picked up a pair of crepe, like brand new Pumas I've never worn before, ready for summer, and went and gave it to him. And it's a situation where you have to, if you want this thing to work and you want to be the change and you want to be, you have to lead by example.
Yeah, definitely.
And what you're doing is very rewarding as well.
Yeah, if someone calls you out and says to you, it's almost like a test, isn't it? It's like someone called you out and said, listen, V, like, if you're really about this thing, there's an individual blah, blah, blah. If it's for the fame and you're tired and you don't want to do it, then you won't get out of your bed, you know? But I got out of my bed, I was, bruv, off camera, well, on camera now. Man didn't even have time to brush my teeth. Because with homeless people, they don't trust because they've been let down so much by people saying they're going to do things for them or they're going to get them a job or they're going to give them some money on Friday, but they never come.
I was going to say, they're coming back and I'll be back.
When I say to someone, what do you need non-essential, or someone tells me to roll out and go and help that person, I move. Yeah. If I got the same, it's just like people who have that energy of looking after a postcode. Yeah. Why am I leaving my ends to go to your ends to feed your homeless people? If you're trapping and doing for your ends and you're publicizing that this is my ends and this is my hood and I'm looking after it, why have you got homeless people? And that's the thing.
They're not considered part of the community.
Yeah, but do you know what? Back in the day, the real gangsters, like when you watch American Gangsters and you watch all these people, they were pulling up with trucks of turkeys and stuff. That's what gangster was back in the day. You know?
That's what community was back in the day.
Exactly.
Because even if you was a gangster or a quote-unquote bad guy within the community, you were still part of the community. Yeah. You'd still give back to the community. You'd still help the community. Because you was a part of it. Do you get what I mean? Definitely. Whereas now, obviously, people want to claim ends and whatever, but do absolutely nothing for it.
Bring it down.
Do you get what I mean? Well, steadily going to bring it down because, like I say, what you give back is negativity, isn't it? So you give back, but you're giving straps to the youths. Do you get what I'm saying? You're giving them food. That's how you give back. You know what I mean? I'm going to put him on. I'm going to put him on. That's how I'm going to give back. Do you get what I mean? And putting him on basically means he's going to go out there and commit more death and destruction within the community. Do you know what I mean? And then you get paid. Do you know what I'm saying? And disown him when you get shift. But anyway, 14% of women, 14% of our homeless people on the streets are women. That was in 2018. Another thing is, I'm going to skip from the 2018 stats and take it up to date, which is in the last 10 years, every year, our homeless community has increased. And now with the pandemic, which is what you were touching on, the reason why I had to bring it back, because I need to get this point out there, is very, very important. I'll say it again, our homeless community has increased every year for the last 10 years. And now with the pandemic, the numbers you just gave, that is about to skyrocket, like off the charts. Like you said, we wouldn't want to, predict numbers or, try to project figures, but the fact still remains is just those figures you gave alone, even if half of those people were to, find themselves homeless, that's a madness. That's crazy. Added to what we already have. Do you understand what I mean? So I say that to say, well, like I say, I've said it to you personally, I'll say it on camera, I commend you for the work you do, first of all, obviously, it's really important. And like I say, it's very few times that somebody makes me have to remember myself. Do you get what I mean? Because I'm usually the person telling people to remember themselves. Do you get what I'm saying? And I realised in my own tokenism when I was put onto, the whole everything you're doing, that although, as I always say to people, even a token gesture is still a gesture, but tokenism is never enough if you're serious about something. So, which is the reason why I got in contact. And we really, really, really need to bring this to the forefront and kind of, do you see what I mean? Really, really stuff it in people's faces. Do you know what I mean?
Just the whole episode explaining you lot going back and forth. Like, I can't lie, I didn't know half of that. I felt bad. Like listening to half of the things.
You see what you said there, Jay? That's why I love you, because you're so honest. And that's my point, is that me as somebody who does know all of this, like I said, this stuff is not even, I said earlier, when I said I researched, I meant the numbers from 2018, only because I knew you had because we'd spoken, so I knew you had stats like from recent stats. Do you know what I mean? So I was just wanting to give so people could see the transition. Do you see what I mean? Like where we've come from to where we are now, and what could be like if we're projecting numbers, or we was even looking at just what could happen off the back of the pandemic. If you're adding that to what is already wow. That is crazy. Do you see what I mean? And it's already an issue that we don't talk about, nobody addresses. It's not at the forefront anywhere.
Yeah, because even
even what you were saying earlier about BLM and gay rights and things like that. There's certain issues that are fashionable. You know, there's kudos point to be won from putting your little piece in, and you know what I mean. Like I say, it's fashionable. Do you see what I mean? But homelessness.
Easy to dismiss. That's what I was saying.
Easy to dismiss. Yeah. Never spoken about. I'm even trying to think of somebody who champions it. You know, like when you think of certain charities or certain movement, you can think of a celebrity straight away. You think, oh yeah, she done mines in bombs in wherever, or this person was doing starving kids in wherever. You know what I mean? You can always kind of put a celebrity with it. You think, oh yeah, well they done the token gesture for that, and you know what I mean, or they started a charity for that. Homelessness.
One of Mac's friends was cutting hair for homeless people, and I thought that was quite a good thing.
Yeah,
100%.
No. Grassroots initiatives like these always pop up within the community. Yeah. But they're never backed, they're never highlighted, they're never given the exposure. Do you understand what I mean? And then when they do, like we were saying earlier, when they do get to a certain stage where you do get to see them, it's because they've been given some form of funding and stipulations have been placed upon them how they can actually do the work now.
It's like it's almost like artists getting signed to a label or being independent. It's the same thing. You know, I could sit here and be like, right, cool, man's not gonna get signed to no funding grant, just like being signed to a label. I'm gonna go independent, and I seem to be doing okay independent. I seem to have, I've even got a connect for armed forces. Imagine I've got a squadron of armed forces that I met when I went to go meet Ozzy Adelez, which is like the ex-football player for Tottenham.
Legend, by the way.
And by meeting him, I met someone from the armed forces, and that whole squadron of armed force personnel will work with me at any given time. That's the army, fam. And it's mad that in a short space of time, I've got connects with Morrison's now. Morrison's gave me 300 Easter eggs. Just Easter gone, I was distributing all up and down Haringey. Like literally just walking into cafes that deal with kids and being like, look, no kid left behind without an Easter egg. Take this. I ran out of Easter eggs. I phoned up another Morrison's, Dorothy, and Darnay, bless her. Darnay is number one, in terms of help. She's perfect. And I went to go meet Dorothy, which is another community champion in the Stamford Hill branch. I ran out of Easter eggs. And I went back for more Easter eggs because there was a domestic violence unit of women in an organisation. There's only 12 of them that didn't have an Easter egg. And I just thought to myself, these are people with nothing. They're never included in society because they've been tarnished with the brush of having that happen to them. It's almost like beggars can't be choosers again. We've given you somewhere to live. That's it. What
more do you want?
It's that normality. Even Easter gone, I had a woman come through my inbox and say to me, Verral, I love the work that you're doing. If you can, when food banks are open again, because over Easter, they were closed. So imagine that. A lot of households who don't have food on the normal never had no food in Easter. So she messaged me and said to me, when food banks open, can you help me? Because my daughter, she had an ulcer. They gave her the wrong medication, and the ulcer burst inside of her stomach, so she can't work. Something's going on with her. She's old. She's got anxiety because of COVID. She can't leave the house. And at the end of everything she's just told me, she said to me, and you have a happy Easter. And I looked at it and I said to myself, how do I reply to that? I can't reply to it and say, you too. Knowing that she doesn't have no food. So I turned to my wife and I said, babe, read this. And she read it and she's like, bruv, made that phone call, called up Darnay and said, Darnay, listen, I've got this situation. I screenshot it. She's on the phone, I'm reading it to her. She's like, nah, V, come check me. Went down to Morrison's, took my bank card out, paid for some food. She paid for some food. And we literally went to the woman's house and delivered her food.
Wow, that's amazing.
And then after we gave her food, she was so surprised because I said to her, I can't come. It being Easter, me have other things going on. I said, I can't come. You know? I said, I'll try and deal with some food banks soon, but give me your address so I can try and get some stuff delivered to you. So this is the morning after. This is just before Easter Sunday started. I phoned her and I said to her, just in the worst case scenario I can get to you, can you explain to me where exactly you live? So as she's telling me on the phone where she's living, she's like, you take a left down there and you come by the park. I'll be like right there and that's where my house is. So as she's telling me, I'm driving to her, but she don't know this.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm outside. She's like, what? I said, I'm outside. She's like, you're outside where? I said, I'm outside your house. And when she came downstairs, she was crying her eyes out. She didn't know what I brought her, but she knew from how I move that she's going to get dealt with. Gave her it was 6 bags of shopping, like baked beans, bread, tuna, like anything she would want. Yeah. And it was more things, it wasn't even what she wanted. It wasn't a list that I made up for myself because I don't believe in that. I actually asked her, if I can go to a food bank, what would you want? Because I already had it in mind to go shopping for her. Yeah. And she gave me a list. And again, the list was nothing mad. It wasn't like,
they don't want crazy stuff.
It wasn't like, I want fish and I want this. It was simple stuff. Egg, beans, bread, cereal, milk, green peas. There was no mad things. Andrex toilet paper. It was nothing like that. It was just, if you can you get me this stuff, please? And that's the thing. I even met a homeless person outside a supermarket. A lady. I've said to the lady, would you like some help? She's got up and she's looked at me and she said to me, yeah, okay. So we walked into the shop. So I said, get a basket. I always tell them to get a basket because that reassures them that they can just get what they want. I'm not really fussed with the money side of things. So she picks up the basket and she's walking around. But it hit me because this was a weird one. For me, it was weird because she took me back. She started picking up like fresh potatoes that needed to be cooked. And then she was picking up carrots that needed to be cooked. And then she went to the fresh meat section. And I'm following. I'm saying to myself, what's going on? But then something in me said to me, for someone to sit outside in cold weather like that, with it snowing, on cardboard, with just a skirt on, and the jacket, something must be wrong. So I said to her, I waited for her, we got to the till, and then she's got all the stuff in her basket, and then she goes to me. So I said to her, what are you doing with all this stuff? She's like, I'm going to go home, I've got 3 kids at home. So imagine that. She's got 3 kids at home, and she must be the only person that's going to provide for the house.
Yeah.
And it's mad because when I go and see her now, she folds up. As soon as she sees me coming towards her, she folds up what she was sitting on, and she throws it in the bin, which is the cardboard box, because she knows I'm going to deal with her to a point where she can go home straight after. You know, and that's a good feeling for me to see someone on the street, know that I can deal with them accordingly, to be driving out of the car park and look to my right and know that she's gone now.
Yeah. She don't need to be out there no more.
You know, that is what patterning should be. Shouldn't it be?
Definitely.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's done.
Yeah.
You know, it's done. And that's, for me, you know, even today when I went to meet the guy with the socks and the shoes, when I was driving and I stopped at the lights and I saw him walking past me with the fresh crepe on, I was like, yeah, cold. I rate that. You know, not for my own self-affirmation, but knowing that
but
he's not going to have glass run up in his foot.
But you should feel good. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
do you know what? I'll be honest with you.
To give is to receive.
Do you know what? I'll be honest with you. It's one of them things where I force myself not to feel good with things. Because you know what? Sometimes when you gas yourself up,
Start feeling like the work's done.
Your grassroots are pulled out. It's like you put weed killer on it. And then the more you feel good,
but sometimes it's
more
we're easy to make ourselves feel bad. That's what I'm like. You know, like if we do something bad, we put that on ourselves. We wear it on our back. You know what I mean? But sometimes when we do good things, we like say because you're in a good place,
you don't want to take the credit on that, but you should still feel good. And if you know what I mean,
I do feel good, and I think for someone who used to suffer from anxiety, it does put your anxiety at bay, knowing that you are not the only person in the world that having problems.
Definitely.
So I think for me, it's like I do kind of safeguard that good feeling. Like I think I was speaking to you this morning with it, where when someone says to me, "Rah, like you should run for MP, or you should be a councillor, or you should go for a mayor." Cool, but it kind of makes me in a place that I'm not ready for yet. You know, but I know for a fact if I was to go into Parliament and win any election, I'll get kicked out in the first week. Because I don't stand for nonsense, bro. You know, half of these rules that come through, you know, who in their right mind would be okay with putting spikes outside of a supermarket to say that homeless people can't go there? That's what you do for pigeons. You know? And it's mad because...
And some people tell you it's inhumane if you do that for pigeons.
But the maddest thing is, though... Do you want to hear the maddest thing is, though? Imagine this. You see a dog or a fox or an animal that's been licked by a car. Oh my God. State of panic. Bare phone calls. This animal's going to get picked up now.
That's a fact. Yeah.
But you see a homeless person that doesn't have anything in the cold or is not living correctly or not even breathing properly half the time. No phone calls. Yeah. We've got one thing that I know of. I haven't researched maybe enough of it, but there's a organisation you can call, but that takes 48 hours to come out. It's not instant.
Do you know, I don't know why it's even come to my mind, but I just thought of something, and you know, like homeless people, and just what you were saying about, you know, some of the things they would want or they yearn for. People think like, I don't know, maybe people get confused or they think they would want or need different things. But I remember somebody saying to me, and it always stuck in my head. He said to me, "Do you know what I long for?" It was his exact words. "You know what I long for? Do you know what, like, I really, really miss?" Like, as he put it, about normality. Yeah, because he always said like, "This ain't normal." He used to call me anyway. But yeah, he used to say, "This ain't normal." Blah 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 blah. But the point is, he say what he really missed about normality was sitting on the toilet, like basically going to the toilet in the morning, sitting on the toilet with a cigarette and a newspaper. He said if you could do one thing, like that is the fit. And I looked at this guy and I thought, wow.
It's real talk, man.
I thought, right, it's talk, because it's something that, you know, most people will just take for granted. It's not something you even think about. Do you get what I'm saying? It's not even something you would think about. Do you get what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying though? That you would think he would want, like you said, a banquet.
It's just like some people,
or some silk
it's just like some people would.
It's
just like some people on a Friday fish and chips. You know, literally. Once that's pulled away, it's like, yeah, it's true.
And imagine the guy's living rough on the seafront. Like he literally lives on the front of the beach. He's got a shopping trolley with all his worldly possessions in it, and he pushes it around all day, and then comes back to his little spot on the beachfront. That's where he sleeps. Like a lot of people slept there. But yeah, in getting to know him, again, I won't say any names, but in getting to know him, yeah, that was something he just came out randomly in conversation, and it always stuck in my mind. I could even now as I'm thinking, I can see his face even when he said it, because he almost like looking away into the wilderness, like, oh boy, I really, you know, like when you're thinking about that thing you love, like, you know, that thing you think,
that's real. You
when
know?
I used to.
That's
like,
real,
if
man.
I could ever, like, do you know what I mean? If there's anything I missed, he didn't say, like you said, he didn't say pizza, he didn't say nothing. His whole thing was just basically, boy, I used to remember, boy, every morning I used to get up, you know, like before work, because again, they've got lives, you know. This guy, he had a house, he was married, you know what I mean? Mortgage, all of that. Do you get what I'm saying? He had a life, you know what I mean? But his whole point was just basically, my routine used to be, get up in the morning, go downstairs, I sit on my throne with my newspaper, my fag, and that was his little thing. Do you get what I'm saying? He said, bro, that's the one thing. If you could do anything, if he could have anything back from his old life, that's the one thing he misses the most. And I just thought that is such a trivial thing. Yeah. In my mind, like you were saying before, like when you said, like, you know, my bike's worth this amount, and you know, she's looking at her gloves for 50p, holding it to her face and crying. You know, do you know what I mean? And my bike's worth $2,000, $2.5 or what? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like when you weigh things up and you look at it, and I'm, again, like I said, at that time, obviously, just being around them, I even put my situation into perspective. Do you get what I'm saying? Definitely. Just talking to this guy, and And again, like I said, I'm thinking all these different things, and he just said that, and it was so profound. It was just like, it stopped me. And I don't know if it was something you said earlier about the when she was picking up the potatoes and the carrots. Or whatever, that's what made me think about it. And I just thought, that's really weird, because I remember him saying that to me like it was yesterday. Do you get what I mean? And maybe I'm not making as much of a point as I was trying to, but the point I'm making is just that the things that people yearn for in those scenarios are some of the most minuscule things to somebody who's living their life.
You know,
do you know what I mean?
And you know, the nation, you know, a homeless person can't even get a smile anymore. You know, everyone's walking around with these.
Yeah.
You know, how do they even, you know, imagine waking up one morning for someone who's sleeping rough and then know that it's ordered for everyone to wear masks.
How you gonna know?
That's mad. No. Yeah, you see what these signs say, stay home, stay safe.
Yeah.
Where's your home?
Yeah.
That's what I used to. That's what I was thinking during the pandemic.
Yeah.
You're
okay, look. Here's the next thing. Yeah, don't even listen. Look. Yeah, listen. Yeah.
It's like telepathy there.
No, so watch. Yeah, look.
Go ahead.
So, the government proportioned money into different councils, different boroughs, and gave them, let's say, £1 million each to deal with their homeless situation and get them off the street for that initiative. Yeah. Now, let's say for instance you had 10. You had 10 councils. You gave £10 million away. Yeah. For them to deal with that problem. So you got 10 million. You put it into $1 million per council, which is 1 million per council. Mm-hmm. They basically, their guideline is to get as many homeless people as you can off the street and put them into hotel, get them off the road. Yeah. Now, what doesn't make sense to me is you've given them no guideline on how to spend the money. Okay, so all it takes is for that person to think of the best way to do it and just do it. So if your council's Westminster's hotels are going to cost way more than another borough's hotels because of the way those things cost. Okay, but would this not have made more sense? You take 10 million, you hold it, you phone the tax office, and you find out what hotel made the most money last year, which means they'll be paying the most tax. Okay, so boom, you phone that hotel company and you say, boom, your hotel chain made X amount of money. You're predicted to make this. You're predicted to get this tax bill. We're gonna alleviate your tax bill, so that will bring us an extra 5 mil. Let's say we now got 15 million, so we can proportion that money to be bigger, and we take that 15 million and we give it all to that hotel chain that have got hotels all up and down the country, and strike a deal with them and say, look, we need you to pledge with the money we've just given you and your tax break that you're gonna pledge to put. In all of your boroughs, you're going to pledge to put 30,000 in, let's just say. Yeah? That's just too high of a number because there's not that many homeless people. But as an example, you're going to pledge to put that amount in per borough. That makes more sense. But if you're at the top of the game and you don't think like that because you don't understand it and you don't understand how to... You know, like back in the day, you know, your mum's got £20, your mum will make it stretch. She understands how to make money stretch. These lot don't know how to make money stretch. Everything is
throw money at it.
Inflation and chuck money at something. That's not how it works, bro. Like if you get
and half the time, so it's crazy, but half the time they don't even look into who's running the stuff they're throwing the money at. Just what I'm saying. So they're just throwing money at stuff because they don't really actually want to have to deal with it.
100.
So, you know, what organisations do we have in that borough? Okay, right, fund them, fund him. How did they get on? Okay, right, well, fund the next one, and it just keeps going down the line.
You wanna hear a madness? Imagine this. I found a company that were making these homeless pods. Yeah, £30 a pod. I wanted to buy 30 of them. Yeah. I phoned them up and I said to them, look, I want to place an order of 30 pods. How long do they take to get built? They're like, oh, sir, that's amazing. Thank you very much. So it's like an insulated pod. They sleep in, it's like a triangle. It can be folded down, very transferable, very light. I'm not allowed to buy one. I'm not a charity.
What? See what I mean?
So how does that work? I can't look after a homeless person and get them somewhere warm to sleep because I'm not a charity. Do you know how many things I can't do because I'm not a charity?
Yeah.
And it becomes illegal then, or what? Like,
No, it goes against their ethos of what it should be used
what it
for.
should be used for, yeah.
I don't know, because I said to them, I'm not being funny, but why else would I be buying these pods?
Yeah.
They don't fit anything else but one person.
Yeah.
I have no need for them, you know? And I'm getting to this problem over and over again, but do you know what? It's new school now, you know? New school is new school. And the way charities have worked, you know, how do some charities, I've looked at statistics, I won't call any names, but how does some charities have a net profit? How do you have a net profit? Bruv, do you know what? I'm gonna run their names. Listen.
I was just about
Red Nose Day have been selling red noses since 95, cuz. Yes. When I was going to school, man had Red Nose Day. Yeah. That is worth 1.8 billion. Million, billion. One of the two. Yeah.
It must be billions.
Billions.
How do you net profit? How do you have a net profit based on a charity?
Because you've got board members.
Exactly,
but
this is my thing, yeah. Because what those big charities do for us is they tell society that they've got that on smash, that they're dealing with it. You don't need to worry about it. Yeah. But you've got all these grassroots people playing the position to keep those numbers down to make them look good.
Yeah, definitely.
But the maddest thing is that I believe, you know, I'm a man that thinks a bit different to how people think. I don't think that these should be allowed to call charities anymore. You know, sorry. I don't think they should be allowed to be called charities, you know? So for me, it's like, if that's the situation, and they are allowed to have a net profit, and they are allowed to have an income, and they are allowed to do certain things, sideline. Straight sideline. You know? That should be a realm where it's like charity pluses, who have passed the charity stage and are now a plus organisation. You know, definitely. Let charities be for charities. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. But you know what the thing is as well is that you have to remember, like you kind of touched on it earlier when you made the wish list and stuff like that. A lot of people, they know your character. Do you understand what I mean? So in that sense, you don't need to be a charity because it's one off of almost reputation, for want of a better word. Do you get what I mean? Because people know your stature, people know your
100%.
character.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? The actual, for want of a better word, do you know what I mean? Who you are. Like, do you get what I mean? So because of that, people are more likely to trust you with the purse strings, trust you with the gifts, trust you with the merchandise, because they know that it's going to go.
It's going to get done.
Right. Do you get what I mean? And I think sometimes this is why a lot of people don't like to give to charities. Like some of the ones you just mentioned before, is because of that reason. They see them as an organisation that has profits, has shareholders, has board members, and they just look at it like, I'm not giving it my money. Charity begins at home, kind of thing.
100, man.
Do you get what I mean?
Smart.
Whereas somebody like yourself, like say, I wouldn't give somebody my card details or bank details to join some charity. You know, that's what they do these days, isn't it? Oh, we're taking your details, you know, we don't take cash thing. And just that in itself puts a bad taste in my mouth. What you're saying to me is that the people who are volunteering to work for your charity cannot be trusted with the purse strings. So I can't give you cash because we don't know what's going to happen with it.
And you know what's mad as well is that with an organisation set up of a charity, if I decide that I'm going to buy a bottle of water, if I decide I'm going to invest or do something for someone, I've got to get it signed off by both of you two as well. It has to be a joint connection. I don't have that waiting time. If someone called me this morning and said to me someone's barefoot, have I got time to wait for someone to sign off me paying for those goods? I don't. Crazy. So that don't work for me. I will never be a listed charity. I don't care what tax things that you get from it. It's just too much paperwork.
Let's just put it out there. You know me, bro. It's the draw in it, so I might as well just do it. You always make the bad, not you, but I'm always end up being the bad guy. charity was a hustle at one stage. You know what I mean? I'm not going to put no time frame on it, but we all know a couple of years ago, about 10. Do you know what I mean? People figured out that they could make money from it. I mean, people have always known, because that's been going on, like you said, like people have been running charities and making money from it and taking donations and not. Let's just put it this way, yeah. Children in need, for example, yeah. You've been taking money since God knows how long, since Jesus made Moses. Yeah. And every year you take 15 million, 18 million, 21 million, 22 million, 28 million. And you're telling me we still need clean water in Africa? So you
know what?
So you said, no, sorry to cut you off. You're still showing me the picture of the kid with the fly flying on his face, trying to tell me that there is no clean water and he needs clean water. All I want to know is, with 1 year's money that you collected, 22 million, that's a lot of money, bro. A lot of money. Do you understand what I'm saying? At least tell me they need houses now. Just done. Tell me you need to run electricity to the compound that you've built. Tell me something. Tell me something other than they're still starving and need clean water, bro. Because they've needed clean water since 1995, bro. Yeah. And every year we've been giving you 15, 18, 22. What's happening, man?
It's real talk, you know.
No, what's happening, bro?
Yeah.
So what's happening?
Or you've turned that water into now bottled water that they're gonna sell in their community. We need to help them brand it. Yeah, 100.
Give me something, man. Give me something. So we can move forward. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? That's why V's here, because it's progressive. Do you know what I mean? It's forward thinking. Yeah. We're actually trying to solve the problem. Do you get what I'm saying?
But do you know what's mad? I think society have been taught that just by seeing those adverts on, you know, give today, give £5 and you know we will help, blah blah blah. Yeah. That just by signing up to that person who comes and meets you outside of a supermarket that says, "Would you like to donate in helping a donkey?" Yeah. You feel that you've done your bit. Yeah. When really you have done because your deed's not taken away. But on the background of that money, you know, the amount of things that have to happen with that money for it to actually, till it gets to its end cause, bruv, it's worth like 50p, bruv. Yeah. Back again for a pair of gloves. Yeah. You know, it's not worth nothing. Once it's gone through its tax and it's that £5 paid the CEO his portion and it's gone to this organisation and it's done this and it's done that.
And they've got to take out their running costs.
Yeah.
Because all those buildings that they've got, they need to be paid for. Yeah.
Do you know, that's the next thing. It's like, again, charity shops, I don't understand a need of a charity shop in 2021. And let me make this clear to why I say it, because some people be like, oh, is that what he just said? Okay, so let's make sense of this. I donate 2 jackets to a charity shop. One cost me £50, the other one cost me £100. I don't need them. Don't want them no more, they don't fit. Person in the charity shop looks at them, says, oh, yep, good condition, types in a label, worth £100, right, cool, let's sell it for 75. That £100 jacket goes up, it's on the rack. Who's affording that? True. Who's affording that jacket for £75?
And how long is it on the rack for?
No, it'll go off the rack fast. You know it'll go off the rack fast? Because someone's now found a bargain. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so really and truly, is it designed for a bargaining or is it designed to help the cause? Because watch this, the £75 now gets proportioned into, as you said, electricity, running costs of the building, rent, tax sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So, but they're not paying no volunteers to be there. No. Yeah. So I kind of don't make no sense. It's better you took that £75 jacket, the £100 jacket. So imagine that £100 jacket is now worth £175 because in its lifetime it's been sold for £175.
Twice.
Yeah. So it's better you took that jacket for £100, brought it to a food bank that gives away clothes as well. Because remember, this is one thing we must remember. Every time we brought clothes to a charity shop, we've always thought about someone in our family or a loved one or a friend that could benefit from it first.
Could use it, definitely.
Yeah. So it's better you just use your social media platform and say, right, man's got this TV I'm throwing out, or man's got this sofa I'm throwing out, and recycle it.
Yeah. Anybody need a TV? Anybody need a sofa?
Make that community thing amongst us. Leave the corporates to what they're up to, because if you can uphold all of these shops, you're not paying any wages. So really and truly, you are like in the best Imagine, you don't have to pay your employees nothing, you know.
Nothing, and you get the product for free.
And you get the products for free.
And how much? Even the building sometimes gets.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, they're paying minimal rent. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is the slight overheads they have are slight, but then they have, like we said, other payments they have to make. Do you get what I'm saying? Shareholders and board members want to see profits. Long and the short of it, they're not out here to lose money. It's not how it works.
True.
Do you get what I mean? Even down to little crazy stuff like, okay, like for example, when I was trying to explain to somebody that social services is a PLC.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, real basic stuff that people they can't grasp it. Do you know? No, but do you know what I'm saying? They can't grasp it because even like what I just said there might fly over a lot of people's head. You bust up straight away because you know what I'm saying.
I don't know what PLC is.
Public liability company.
See, I'll just be honest.
No,
So
but I'm just saying.
it's a company like how you would have company house.
Tell me,
Yeah,
man.
when you said the whole word, I know it is.
No, I know. Yeah, I know. But what I'm trying to say
But
is,
it's just like the police are another entity. They're not. Then they're what's their entity?
Wow, my days. Brain freeze.
So it's another.
This is why I mean, not you say that. Yeah, but anyway.
So it's another entity. As they could. If they could cease its trading.
Yeah, they
in
could
a
cease
sense.
trading. Yeah, they could cease trading. Yeah.
Yeah, which means that they don't have to pay tax for a financial year.
Yeah.
That type of business.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Remember
they could change. There could be a name change. There could be a situation where someone comes up and says, "Oh, I had the name police first," and would able to battle that, and because it's just a normal business.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do not.
Just like the Royal Mail,
just
basically.
Like
sometimes this thing just needs to be breaking down to you. It's not
Same thing.
Yeah, but again, like I say, because people look at these things almost like they are charity. Like that's why I gave social services as an example, because people think there's these good people out there who are coming to save the children. No, bro, they get paid to take people's children away. In most cases.
Yeah.
In most cases.
You do.
Do you know what I mean? They actually make money from taking children.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? And that side of it is not explored. People don't even understand how the money works, how it filters.
And that's why I also feel
these systems.
And that's why I also feel the powers that be would never allow poverty and homelessness to be something that has been put away, done with, because that's a lot of jobs gone.
Yeah, definitely. We've made money out of this.
Mental health will be gone. People who do street teams will be gone. Funding from charities would be gone.
A lot of the prostitution and the work that guys do with
stuff would be gone.
Sex workers and a lot of stuff would be gone, man. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot
That's
of
why
stuff.
it's mad.
So yeah. I mean, like I say, man, I don't want to exhaust it because I want to bring V back again.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
But seriously, like I think we've touched most of what I wanted to touch, not everything. And like I said, I don't want to exhaust it because I want to bring the V back again. And we're all busy. I know he blessed me because he came at real short notice.
Yeah.
He's a busy man. He's got lots of stuff to do. But like I said, I think I'm going to leave it there.
Yeah. Do
you know what I mean? And I know you're humble and you know what I mean. But if you don't mind me saying, great work you're doing in the community.
Yeah. How can we contact you and get involved?
Yeah, flow up socials, all of that. We're gonna put them on there anyway. But
yeah. So my Facebook is Verral Paul-Walcott. So it's VRRAL, and then Paul PAUL, and then hyphen WALCOTT, and then my Instagram is C86ERZ. And that's it, really.
How can we buy some of your clothes?
Yeah, man. Promote
so it's
it,
www.c86ers.com.
Yeah. And the graphic design.
Let's get it all in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Different website.
That's
man.
www.
See how modesty got there. They want to face man. Like, why you gonna do this?
I might as well.
Yeah, go on, man. Throw it up, man.
So www.creammedia.co.uk. That's it, really.
Bless, man. Yeah, man. But another episode.
Come on. Big episode.
Powerful one today, man. Like, I really enjoyed it. Personally, myself. I'll speak for myself. I really enjoyed it. And hopefully V will bless me again and come down, share the platform again, and educate some of you people on how to be a little bit more humane. On route to clarity, the drawer out, Agent X.
Yes.
Dislike, unsubscribe, unfollow, all of that. We out.